By the way, Apple, you know, you're not going to be treated nice at the end of this show, OK? An apple should be eaten, but you're not getting eaten. Do you know what's happening to you? You're going out the window, down 6 flights, pal, smashed on the pavement below, OK? Think about that.
Moonlit musings for sportsman vampires, factory shift workers...
Never mind hello, Chuck.
And men with prostate trouble. Morning, Andy.
What are you doing?
Make sure you stay awake for the radio show that never sucks. The Nosferatu Mics on Talk Sport.
Look at the light!
In Poundland, you have to pay £1.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes, and I'm delighted to say that at the beginning of Christmas week, Mike Porky Parry is here, and it's time to say a very, very good morning to him. Very good morning, Mr. Parry.
A very good morning to you, Mike. I'm full of the Christmas spirit. I feel that... I'm sorry, by the way, I missed the carol singer earlier on.
We'll talk about that because we've got a very good, a decent song for a change for our listeners to enjoy.
Well, I was supposed to be there to help him out, but I mean, when they put the show together and the amount of responsibility I have.
Well, I thought maybe the
traffic
had held you up or something.
Traffic wasn't that bad tonight, but I'm going to tell you a story during the course of this show about somebody who came down from Scotland, drove around London for 4 days. Is a very responsible citizen, obeyed every rule in the book. And found himself over the next week, after he got back to the north, the Scottish borders, with over £300 worth of fines.
From what?
Totted up from being in London, not knowing how to pay the congestion charge, not realise that...
Well, he's an idiot then.
When you go over the Dartford Bridge, you have to pay a congestion charge.
What sort of idiot is this guy?
Not realising that some...
Is he one of your mates?
Hang on. Some bus lanes in the capital city are, in fact, barred to traffic 24 hours a day.
There are signs everywhere. Can he not read this guy?
There are minuscule signs.
Can he not read?
There are minuscule signs.
Can he not read?
There are minuscule signs.
He's not getting any sympathy from me.
24 hours a day, you can't go in bus lanes, even though there's no buses around in the early hours of the morning.
All the bus lanes that are 24 hours have a sign that says, bus lane operational.
You can't see those at night.
You can't see them at night. Rubbish.
Parking where you're not supposed to park, but thinking, I didn't get a ticket, so that's okay.
So what sort of numpty is this guy?
Except that some camera has actually nicked you automatically and you get done. It's an absolute disgrace. I mean, London...
So you start a campaign for us to all pay his fines?
London is the most unusable city in the world.
Are you going to start a campaign for everyone to pay his fine?
Well, hang on. You have agreed with me that Boris Johnson is making London unusable.
I agree with that.
And when people come from outside and find themselves landed with £300 worth of fines, it's even more unusable.
No, the guy's clearly a numpty. If he doesn't know that you can't go in bus lanes, if he doesn't know that you have to pay a congestion charge, if he doesn't know as you go over a toll bridge where it's got great big signs saying you must pay the toll, then I'm afraid,
there's no leadership in this country.
He's hoisted with his own petard.
There is no leadership in this country. Do you know quite soon we're going to have to pay tax 4 times a year? I mean, I'm talking about small businesses.
Well, so what?
Street traders, white van man.
So what?
The self-employed will have to pay.
Just get on with it. Stop moaning.
I don't want to pay tax 4 times a year.
It's the same amount of tax. You just have to do it 4 times instead of once.
No, you have to employ your accountant 4 times to do all your figures for you.
Get a better accountant.
I thought the idea...
I mean, you said you were full of the Christmas spirit.
I am.
Once again, all I get is you coming in, Mr. Captain Negative, with everything moaning and groaning about everything.
There is no leadership in this country. Where is the leadership?
There is leadership.
Where?
You just don't like it.
No, there is no leadership.
No, well, Boris Johnson is being a very big leader of the London traffic problem by screwing it all up. Yeah. Well, that's leadership,
and
right?
now guess what's going to happen to him?
What's going to happen
According
to him?
to my political insiders at Westminster, he's going to be made the Foreign Secretary.
Yeah, I've heard that.
To bring him on side so that he doesn't vote against
I read that over the weekend.
Europe, right?
You didn't hear it from anybody specific.
So hang on. So that means the legacy he's left London is London to become unusable.
Well, maybe that's the answer.
To any driver.
Maybe that's the answer, right?
So
put him into Syria. Put him into Syria and he can mess up Syria to such an extent they won't have time to fight each other. They won't be able to get anywhere.
You can't mess up Syria any more than it's messed
maybe
up
that's
now.
the answer.
Can you imagine Boris Johnson with his mop of blonde hair going round and trying to sort out
but maybe he can
people who behead others? I mean, it's just
he can bring ISIS to a complete standstill. He's got a few cycling superhighways into the north end of Syria.
There's no leadership in this country.
You've said that 8 times.
Mr. Cameron, the Prime Minister...
Can we talk about the football, please?
In a second. Mr. Cameron, the Prime Minister, says he's going to leave office in 2 years' time, and it looks to me like he's already...
He won't be able to get out of London.
Got his D-Mob suit on. He's got his D-Mob suit on.
What are you worrying about this for?
Well, I'm worrying about it because we need leadership in this country.
Christmas.
If leadership had been like this in 1939, we'd now be speaking German. Do you realise that?
Well, it'd be nice to speak a different language.
I just can't answer that one. Listen, guess what? Guess who appeared?
I've got one question for you.
Yes.
What's happened to this Merseyside dominance of the Premier League?
Postponed. temporarily.
Liverpool lost to Watford at the weekend.
Well, that was a thumping defeat, wasn't it?
Everton lost by an even bigger thumping defeat.
No, they didn't. They lost 3-2. Liverpool lost 3-0.
Leicester.
Yeah, I know, to Leicester at
Yeah,
home.
but I mean, they only got that second goal as a sort of a consolation prize.
I wasn't at the game, but all the
Why
people who... Well, I wasn't. I couldn't get there. There was too much else to do. It's the week before Christmas.
You've been out buying presents for all your friends. Hey?
Yes, I have, actually.
Have you?
I bought some.
You got me one?
No.
Why not?
I don't want to buy you a present.
You don't want to buy me a present?
No.
That's not very nice.
I don't feel any sense of seasonal affection towards you.
I've got a present for you.
Do you know what I feel when I think about you and Christmas? I feel like I want to throw up, okay? All right?
Anything's better than the meat raffle, I suppose.
No, listen.
I'd rather have nothing than a packet of old sausages that you picked up from some horrendous pub in the south.
Just on the football thing, right?
Yes,
there are big issues around. If I was running Manchester United, I would already have appointed Jose Mourinho as the new manager.
Right.
Don't care about, he can be difficult and all that.
What about
of course
all
he
this
can. He's a
rubbish
genius.
that some Man United fans have said, he wouldn't play the sort of football we like?
No.
Really?
You might win a few trophies that you like, okay?
By the way, what's up with old Sepp Blatter's face?
Well, he said he had a scratch under the eye, I don't know. Perhaps
I heard someone saying he might have had a mole removed.
Oh, he might have done.
Which is maybe a funny joke, but I don't know if it's true.
No, people have moles removed in case they become cancerous.
I don't mean that kind of mole.
What's it called? What's skin cancer called?
Skin cancer.
Yeah. No, you idiot. Isn't it called? It sounds like Selamina, but I think Selamina.
You mean semolina?
Semolina, yeah. Sounds like semolina.
It's like semolina.
Yeah. What is it called?
Melanoma.
Melanoma. There you go. I knew it was something like that. Now listen, what I'm going to say to you is, if
you didn't get that joke about the mole, did you?
What?
You didn't get that joke about the mole.
Straight
over your head.
What was the joke?
Well, he said a mole removed.
Yes.
Well, think about it.
He had a mole removed. Well, lots of people have moles removed in case you become cancerous.
Yeah, but what's the other kind of mole?
I am a mole and I live in a hole. Is that the other mole?
No, there's another kind. It's true. There is that kind. But there's a third kind.
Mole. Oh, I see. Somebody on the inside who's been telling inside stories.
Fantastic.
Okay, well done.
You're really on the ball today.
Now then,
what?
We can talk a bit about that. We also talk about the fact that, have you ever seen a man who stood so tall and so proud, a bit like John Wayne in the saddle, you know?
He didn't stand in the saddle, did he?
No, he sat in the saddle, but I mean, a ramrod figure who used to say things like, I ride high and I shoot straight, okay? That's what LVG... LVG.
LVJ.
Yeah, LBJ.
Hey, LVJ, how many kids have you killed today?
All the way with LBJ, yeah. No, LVG, when he first came to Manchester United...
They should change that chant into something for LVG.
LVG, yeah.
We'll have to think about that.
Yeah, we'll have to think about that. Yeah. What I was going to say was that LVG came here, ramrod tall, proud, and espousing my philosophy.
Yes, right.
And the philosophy...
I don't know what it is, by the way.
No, philosophy was based on the fact that he took Holland to third place in the World Cup, which is brilliant effort, in Brazil.
But I mean, it's still third place, isn't it?
What I'm saying is, have you ever seen a man more with a look of defeat about him, with a despair? I mean,
his players are at least playing for him.
At Old Trafford, the dugout.
Are only good.
The dugout is actually about 4 or 5 rows back. It's a strange sort of design, right? Yeah. So he didn't get out of his seat once and come.
But don't they have one sort of nearer the pitch as
well?
No,
they don't. No, honestly,
so it's the only one that's up those little stairs.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
Alex Ferguson used to come running down in a rage.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, Ryan Giggs, who is imbued with the spirit of Sir Alex Ferguson and Manchester United, finally lost his patience with his inert boss. Comes running down, gets in the technical area on the touchline, starts waving his
but then
hands
everyone saw that as some kind of job application.
Well, I think it was.
Really?
I don't think it was a job application for the top job, but I think what he's trying to do is separate himself from LVG.
The inertia.
I really do. Yeah, from the inertia. I really do, honestly.
Yeah.
Because a new manager who comes in is going to want somebody. I mean, you're going to want Ryan Giggs alongside.
Well, I mean, once again, I hate to point out
Yes.
the obvious, and I'm not wishing to pour praise on myself.
Yes.
But I said for a long time, ever since LVG came in, that he's not a great manager. That all of his records that have gone before are about him falling out with the bosses after a couple of years, going to massive clubs and getting trophies. And he's never actually taken a club which is in the doldrums like Man United.
That's right.
And done well with them.
LVG, give us lunch and vouchers free.
But as long as we wait behind you at the queue at the canteen, because he has to eat all his food first, doesn't he?
He does. He has to get it first.
I think we could come up with something slightly better than that.
We'll come up with something better than that. It was just an instant one.
I've seen the time.
And the other thing, of course, is Arsenal now seize the initiative.
Yeah, I
always said they would. Said they would.
You did not always say that.
Did you see Theo Walcott's goal?
Yes, I saw it.
It was probably the goal of the season at the Emirates.
It was predicted that you would go raving on about Theo Walcott's goal.
Well, I think Theo Walcott should be leading England's attack, and I think he should play down the middle wherever he goes.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Well, you think Theo Walcott is the greatest English player that's ever lived?
No, I don't think
yes,
that.
You do.
Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah,
the greatest English player that ever
about?
lived was Duncan Edwards, whose life was tragically cut short 6 weeks after the Munich air disaster in '58. But I do think Theo Walcott's a very fine player.
Duncan Edwards was the greatest player England ever had?
Oh, yes. Without a shadow of a doubt. I'm telling you, without a shadow of a doubt.
I'm not going to get into a row about that.
Well, you don't know enough about the subject, so you'd make a fool of yourself, honestly.
Listen, I don't think that Duncan Edwards, by anybody's imagination, whatever you would say, and of course it was a tragic thing that happened to him, would say that he was the greatest living English greatest English player of all time.
He was. If he'd lived...
He didn't live, though.
Yes, I know he didn't.
So
how can he tragic.
So how can he be?
He would have been the captain of the England team that won the World Cup in 1966. Bobby Moore would have just been another defender.
Yeah, but he wasn't.
Well, I'm sorry, but I wish that he had been, because to me,
you wishing something
he was the greatest.
True.
Well, my father saw him play.
It's not the two. Well, so what? It's not that maybe he didn't see him play. He just told you he saw him play.
No. He saw him play.
Parry pack of lies.
And sorry, what's that?
Well, maybe he's like you. Maybe just makes stuff up.
And what? And you constantly gripe and moan that I'm insulting your father. you just branded my father, who's been dead for 30 years, unable to defend himself, a barefaced liar.
Well, like father, like son.
I'm speechless.
Good. Finally, this is Talk Sport.
Don't phone your mother. Phone Talk Sport.
Football on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Athletico Radio.
Talk Sport.
God bless you all our listeners, it's Blanderation Day, and old MG and Porky will be in the church to pray. The Lord provides for Pinot Grigio, red wine and rosé. Oh, tidings of bladerated joy, bladerated joy. Oh, tidings of bladerated joy. At Christmas we should Rogerise, for it is time to share. And old MG is on the pull, he's looking everywhere. It doesn't really matter as long as she's got hair. Oh, tidings of Rogerising joy, Rogerising joy. Oh, tidings of Rogerising joy.
How many more verses have you got?
One, the two mics wish you happiness. Two men who are so wise, and what they do on Christmas Day will come as no surprise. Forget the bleeding presents, they just want to rot your eyes. Whoa! Tidings of bladerated joy, bladerated joy. Tidings of Rogerising joy.
Great visit from Padre Parry, though.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
was.
him for ages.
No.
His accent's changed a bit, though, since the last time he was around.
Well, he does the rounds of media offices at this time of the year and gives them all a Christmas carol, and also does God Rest You Merry Gentlemen.
If you want to watch the video of Padre Parry, who has not been in the TalkSport studios, I would say, for probably a couple of years.
Absolutely.
He came back in tonight. He was supposed to do a duet with Porky, but unfortunately Porky was unavailable due to Boris Johnson's nastiness.
That's
he
right,
couldn't get into
on the roads.
studio in time. So anyway, go to the two mics. You'll see the video there. And just watch it and enjoy it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a Christmas carol brought to you by, I suppose, Two Mics Productions, really.
Two Mics TV.
Two Mics
you
TV.
might say.
It's on there.
Now, let me read you a few tweets that we've got in.
Okay, mate.
Brian says, it's lovely to see Porky has got into the Christmas mood. # man of the people.
Yes.
John says, I know what this period of dominance is. It's the two Merseyside clubs dominating the middle of the Premier League.
It's very true, I'm afraid.
Ronak says, there's a bus lane in Lambeth which has raked in £6 million. Money-making scheme.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Neil says, MG, clearly Porky's relation visited London and got clobbered because he listened to Porky. God help us all. Here's one from Steve. Porky, full of Christmas spirit. Whiskey, gin and vodka. # bladderation. Here's one from Richard, who says, has Porky been drinking? Makes a pointless argument about London and then charges. And who's LVJ?
LVJ,
Got a great one on that front, actually. From LVJ, instead of the LBJ. LVG. He's on the dole after Saturday.
I love that.
That's from Wayne.
What about LVG, just as useless as old MG? No, there's too many G's in that.
Unfortunately, that's not true either.
No, well,
you could have him just as useless as...
No, he's much better than you.
As David
much better.
Moyes. He's almost as useless as David Moyes.
Well, David Moyes is starting to look good by comparison, I'm telling you.
Yeah, he must be looking quite smug at the moment. Here's one from Ronak, who says Gaza was the best English player, technically.
Well, he was of his generation, but he wasn't of all time. Bobby Charlton was better than Gascoigne. I mean, Bobby Charlton was a very, very fine footballer. The only problem is when he got involved in the politics at Manchester United and said, we don't want his sort round here, talking of Jose Mourinho, I'm afraid I think
he's regretting that now, isn't
he?
I
think he did his club a disservice. However, there may still be a thought that... will Manchester
really
United...
think that it's going to happen, this Mourinho to Man United
well, all I'm saying is, if the people running Manchester United have got any brains whatsoever, it should have happened already.
I know, but that's not what I'm asking you. Do you really think... I mean, what some of the papers are saying, back of the papers are saying, that Mourinho's in talks with Manchester United. Everybody else who knows Mourinho says he doesn't like to go into a club in the middle of the season. Surely he won't be going on until the end of the year.
He's contradicted himself on that. He has said publicly over the last 48 hours, I don't want a sabbatical.
I know that.
I don't want to rest. I don't need time out to the game.
I'm not saying he's said that, but I'm saying people who know Mourinho say that one of the things he likes to do is to start afresh at the beginning of a season. He's never gone into a club in the middle of the season, as far as I'm aware. And I'm not saying that he wouldn't do that, but he's never done it before.
Well, that doesn't mean he won't do it. He won't do it now. He will do it now. I mean, look, Louis van Gaal has to go, even if the two next crucial games, Stoke and amazingly against Chelsea, isn't it?
Yeah.
Manchester United and Chelsea.
Manchester United Chelsea. Big game.
Yeah, a huge game. And all I'm saying is...
By the way, can I just say, because I haven't had a chance to say it yet, Chelsea players are an absolute disgrace. The way that they changed, the way that they played, the way that they suddenly became enthusiastic. Yeah. In any walk of life, it's all very well if you don't like your boss. It's all very well if you don't like your job. Yeah. But for you not to try as hard as you possibly can to do anything that you do, I think is an absolute and utter calumny.
The purists say that the players who were the rebels, or the ones who, there was a question mark over there.
Well, there's three names which were paraded at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, exactly.
Hazard.
But the rebels are saying, well, because they were given roles which were peculiar to the way they play football, they didn't feel comfortable in the team. No, I don't buy it either. I totally agree with you on that one.
I mean, it's like me saying, just because I hate having to work with you every night, I will not try my hardest, and I will sort of, throw the show in certain directions to make it that we get taken off the air or something.
Yeah, well, that is such a load of drivel.
No, I would never do that.
But you know what would happen?
I would never do that.
Do you know what would happen then?
What?
Our millions of listeners would rebel and rise up against you and boot you into touch and save the Portmeister. Without a shadow of a doubt.
No, I don't think so.
Without a shadow of a doubt, man.
You mean all those planks that follow you and vote for you?
Oh, that's very nice, isn't it? That's very nice. I mean, you realise a great deal of those people you are calling quotes.
I'm talking about the ones who vote for you.
Most disrespectful.
I'm talking about the ones that vote for you quite openly and admit to voting for you without even listening to the show, without even listening to the podcast, and just vote for you no matter what.
It's a disgrace.
I call people that do that planks.
It's an absolute disgrace. But
Kenny says, I don't think Bobby Moore would ever have been just another defender.
Well, he's not just another defender. He would have been a defender. He wouldn't have been England captain. He wouldn't have picked up the Jules Rimet trophy as it was in those days. It would have been Duncan Edwards. Anyway, look, we'll never know.
Here's one for you, right?
Yes.
This is from Marco, who says, people who said Duncan Edwards was the best player ever are these names. Matt Busby, Milf McGuinness, Bobby Charlton, my dad, Mike Parry, and Morrissey.
There you go.
Morrissey, you said,
I didn't know Morrissey had. Well, no, Morrissey's a very odd man, but that doesn't mean to say he can't analyse a footballer.
Matt Busby did not see Gaza play, did he?
Matt Busby? No, probably not. But I mean, what's that matter?
Well, it matters because you can't say that, some guy is the greatest player of all time ever to have played for England if you haven't seen what comes after him.
Gascoigne isn't fit to wipe a lot of English footballers'
I'm
boots.
Not saying he is.
Because of the way he threw his career away through,
but he could
outrageously reckless behaviour.
But you're saying about Duncan Edwards that had he not died, had he been able to fulfil his potential, he would have been the captain of England, he would have been this, he would have been that. You can say the same about Gascoigne. If Gascoigne hadn't got himself into a terrible state, what could he have achieved?
Well, he didn't. That's the point.
But neither did Duncan Edwards.
Yeah, but Duncan Edwards was torn away from us. Gascoigne recklessly threw his life
away. That's
not
the point. My point is that you can't project onto what a great guy somebody would have been.
This all came from talking about United. What I'm saying is, Mike, that you can't have a club like Manchester United, which is probably the most profitable in the world and the biggest club in the world in many people's eyes.
Not quite. Real Madrid's still slightly bigger.
Yeah, I think you're right, yeah. But the history and the heritage and all that added in. But what I'm saying is you can't have a club like that who are constantly on tenterhooks. Every game they come to, oh, Christ, are we going to win this game? Are we going to lose this game? Are we going to score a goal? Are the fans going to rebel? You can't have that sort of atmosphere surrounding the club.
I don't know whether I've pointed
this out. That's why he's got to go. Yeah.
By the way, I don't know whether you know this or whether you've been aware, but you know what my prediction for the Man United game was in the Selco Predictor?
I think you said Manchester United won Norwich 2.
That's exactly what I said.
Is that what you said? Yes, okay.
Isn't that amazing?
Not bad. I got some fantastically accurate predictions as well.
You've got minus 60 this week.
Rubbish. You always
minus 60.
You always minus.
You know the only one you got right? And I know why you got it right, and everybody knows why you got it right. It was Liverpool score. I guess why you got that one right.
Why?
Because you always say Liverpool are going to lose.
No, I don't.
Yes,
That's
you do.
Rubbish. Now, listen.
You said Watford would beat Liverpool. Nobody believed that.
Do you think... Well, I knew it would happen. Do you think that it's a very good idea for Pep Guardiola to announce he's leaving in 6 months' time? I don't.
Well, it's very odd how they do things. But do you remember how they do things in Germany? Remember Jupp Heynckes?
Yes.
The guy who won the treble.
He sounds like an aeroplane, doesn't he? No, he does, doesn't he?
I don't know. I've never been that close to him.
You know, the Jupp Heynckes.
What do you mean when he walks around?
No. But there was during the Second World War...
What's that guy sound like?
No. During the Second World War, the German planes were the Messerschmitt and
the Luftwaffe.
And the Heinkels.
Well, a Heinkel?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay.
So he's Jupp Heynckes.
Yeah, well, so he's Heynckes.
Yeah, Jupp Heynckes, same sort of word. And so you know,
Heinz is the same sort of word as well.
Maybe he comes from the aircraft family.
The aircraft family.
Maybe.
What's the aircraft family?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he was the sort of the star son. The chosen one out of a family that. I don't know.
They used to have an NSU Wankel, didn't they? Do you remember the Wankel engine?
Well, I'm not going to get into this, Michael.
It's a perfectly normal word.
Well, that was a... Do you know what that was?
I used to have a toy one.
That was a three-sided triangle type thing, rotary in the
That's
engine.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was an unusual engine. It was called the Wankel engine.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
anyway, Jupp Heynckes, if you remember, the year that he won the Champions League, when they beat... was it when they beat Borussia Dortmund in at Wembley, or was it when they beat... Real Madrid the year before? I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
No.
Anyway,
yes.
I think it was the Dortmund game, right?
Yeah.
He knew that he was leaving.
Of which Klopp was the manager at the time.
Yeah, he was.
Yes.
He knew that he was leaving before the final was played.
Yeah, I know.
And I found that very odd.
Well, the famous
for
one...
months before, he'd said, I'm leaving.
But the famous one is Del Bosque, isn't it? Who won everything that you can win in the game, including the Champions League, and then got the boot. But knew the boot was coming.
Well, I mean, you could say the same about Mourinho. I mean, Mourinho won the Premier League last year.
Yeah.
And just because things aren't going terribly well, he's now been fired.
Yeah, but look at the merry-go-round now. Pep Guardiola... almost certainly going to Manchester City, in my view.
I would think so.
Chelsea have courted him in the past and not managed to... I
don't think he'd go to Chelsea.
How do you hook a man, by the way? I only found this out over the weekend, who earns £14 million a year.
Well, I told you money was not his interest.
No, I was going to say, so, even if Roman Abramovich came along and said, I'll double your money, 28 million a year, which is so ludicrous, it wouldn't be of any interest to him.
We're going to have to stop. So I've got a lot of points to make about Pep Guardiola, actually.
Okay.
Coming up next, we're going to speak to Spencer Pryor, former Man City player.
Oh, yeah.
We'll find out from him what on earth Pellegrini's going on about.
Okay.
This is Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
And it's in!
A diving header at the end of a 50-yard run.
From the root to the tip.
Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes, and of course, there's an awful lot of football to talk about. Pep Guardiola to Manchester City, Jose Mourinho to Manchester United, who knows who to Chelsea after Gus Hiddink has finished with them. Some amazing football results. Last night, no less amazing. Arsenal pretty much outplaying Manchester City. We're going to talk now to Spencer Pryor, who's probably got lots to crow about with Norwich and Leicester's results over the weekend. Spencer, very good morning to you. Welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you?
Yeah, not bad at all.
Pretty good.
We'll get to Norwich and Leicester later. But Manchester City, who until last night, I guess, people were saying, well, there's only really one team that can win the Premier League. Everyone's saying it can be Arsenal now.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Man City dominated possession, I thought, for 30 minutes. However, I genuinely thought Arsenal dominated the game both with and without the ball. So even when they didn't have it, they were super solid defensively. And sure, I mean, Man City had a couple of chances, in the first half an hour, but didn't really create too much. And you know, as I said, I thought Arsenal dominated without the ball as well, which was quite alarming, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, we've heard, for example, at the top of the show, I want to hear it again, Manuel Pellegrini, basically talking a lot of statistical balderdash. Have a listen to this.
If you ask me, I'm not unhappy with the performance of the team. I think that we played better than Arsenal in all the different statistics you normally have in a game. In possession, we had more possession, more attempts, more shoot on target. But unfortunately, in football, the scores decide 2 or 3 balls, and we made especially an important mistake in the second goal.
I mean, don't you think that's a big problem if you've got a manager that talks like that, Spencer?
It's a bit of a shame that the game isn't won on statistics, isn't it? Because
thank goodness it's not.
Well, coaches could talk their way around it. Ultimately, let's be honest, I mean, it wasn't a great game to watch. If you were a Man City supporter, sure. I mean, the last 20 minutes were solid, but Arsenal decided to park a bus a bit. And Man City, you know, in all honesty, I thought when they brought Neves on, I thought he made a big difference, and Bonnie as well. But it doesn't really change what happens in the 70 minutes before that. And you know, like I said, the game's not won on stats. So it sounds like a coach that's sort of battling a bit, given the news around Pep. And, you know, I think he's battling and defending his own position with the stats, really.
Now, Spencer, if you were a member of a team that was truly a stellar club in Europe and the world, like Manchester United. Sorry?
Why are you talking so slowly?
I'm not talking slowly.
He's not foreign, he's English, you know.
A stellar club like Manchester United, and your current manager was faltering and you were losing confidence in him. What would you feel about the prospect of Jose Mourinho turning up the day after tomorrow to take over?
Look, I think it seems to be this whole merry-go-round of super managers that's going to be happening.
It's going to.
Maybe over the summer, but maybe before.
Oh, yeah.
You know, with Jose sort of lurking around and Pep now talking about he knows where he wants to go, I think there's going to be a real change. And, you know, results will dominate what happens, particularly in the summer. But a club like Man United or even a club like Manchester City, they won't hesitate to make the change if they don't think that they're going to get the rewards that they want and that the owners have invested in. So,
well, hang on. Why are Manchester United hesitating at the moment? The position is that LVG is not up to it. That's obvious to everybody. Look, and one of the world's great managers and probably the most successful in terms of trophy accumulation is on the market.
But Man U have got a philosophy, and they're going to work with the philosophy, and that's what LVG seems to be hiding behind. You know, we've got a philosophy.
Yeah, I mean, you got Pellegrini hiding behind the statistics, and you got LVG hiding behind the philosophy. Is any wonder English clubs aren't doing very well in the Champions League?
Exactly.
No, it's great. And look, you know, of course, managers are going to defend their own position, and they're right entitled to. And ultimately, you know, they want the backing of the owners. Time ran out for Jose, and I felt for him the defining moment was going on the attack against some of the players publicly. Now we're seeing Pellegrini going behind the stats, which clearly didn't indicate the reflection of how the game was run. And like I said, Arsenal dominated without the ball as well. So sure, when Man City had it, they didn't hurt them, and they only started hurting them when I thought that Neves came on and De Bruyne tucked inside a little bit. And until that point, Arsenal weren't troubled. They weren't.
They really weren't. And Aguero only playing for, an hour? You know, that's always a bit of a worry, isn't it? I mean, is he going to be really fit for the rest of the season?
Do you know, it is a bit of a worry, but my bigger worry is the fact that the result went against them, and then they keep trying to push him for longer and longer and longer in games, not giving him a chance to fully get fit. Because if they do that, he'll break down again. And, you know, we saw Vincent Kompany coming back, and now he's clearly struggling. And how long it will take him to get fully fit again is anyone's mess. You know, no one knows how long that's going to be. But the reality is if the results start struggling, the managers start forcing the players back quicker than they should, and then they tend to break down. So, you know, I'm a little bit concerned, obviously, with what's going on there, but they do have, you know, the Christmas period. I think will be a really clear reflection of where they are with the backup games that they have over that period.
Yeah, interesting. I've got a tweet here from Stoddard. He says Manchester City are in worse form than Manchester United, 7 points in their last 5 games as opposed to 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're still up the top and challenging, whereas Man United are stuck in mid-table. So, it's better for them in
fifth.
Whatever their position is in terms of Man City and form. I think this result will dent them, given that Arsenal are probably the only other. Dare I say?
Well, listen, it's a 6-pointer they've lost, isn't it? I mean, they're now 4 points behind Arsenal. They're now 6 points behind Leicester. And let's talk about Leicester because, everyone keeps saying, oh, well, it's only a matter of time. I've been saying it all year. Why should it only be a matter of time before they collapse? I think they could win the league.
If they keep Mahrez, they've got a chance of finishing super high up because everyone's looking at Vardy, but Mahrez, he's a special player. And... if they can keep him in the January window, then I think they've got a great chance to finish high in the league. I ain't going to say they're going to got a chance to win it because that would be foolish right now.
Why would it be foolish? I don't think so. I don't think it is foolish.
I think they've got a real opportunity.
What are you calling me foolish for, Spencer? That's not very nice.
Do you know what? Honestly, I think given with the depth of the squad that they have, Ranieri's done an amazing job and he's made less changes to his 11 than any other manager in the league. And that's the reflection of where they are results-wise. However, to go through an entire season with virtually the same 11 is a massive challenge and a massive ask on players. Come sort of getting through the Christmas period and then going into March again when it becomes an even heavier schedule.
But that's when Arsenal usually mess up, isn't it?
Yeah, they do. But and that's where Man City might come strong and come really good. However, it's an amazing thing what's happening at Leicester. And why not go into the belief that they could at least finish top 4? Why not?
Yeah,
if they finish top 4, get Champions League, what an amazing achievement.
Yeah.
Of course it would be.
Absolute amazing achievement.
It would be tremendous. Well, Spencer, listen, we haven't even got time to mention Norwich, but another one of your ex-clubs doing terribly well at the weekend. Thanks very much indeed. Spencer Pryor there on the phone from Australia. A couple of tweets to read out to you, Mr. Parry. Jamie says, Mourinho to Man United, there's more chance of a Porky winners and losers comeback or a Porky vision making sense. And here's one from Stoddard who says, why should Man United swap one grumpy, sour manager who plays dull, dire, stifling football for another? Well, because he wins a lot, does Jose
exactly.
and he has 66% win ratio, even losing 9 games this season, which is a third of the games he's lost in total for Chelsea.
Exactly.
Not that I like statistics.
Anybody who thinks it's mad that Jose Mourinho would go to Manchester United is demented because he should be going to Manchester United. He should be there now.
Well,
he should be in Manchester in a hotel discussing a deal.
It's not up to you and I. It's not up to the people listening to the show. It's up to the
But it's only common sense.
The hierarchy.
It's the only common sense that
makes
makes
the hierarchy in Manchester, isn't it?
Listen, what are they hanging on for? They're hanging on to find out whether...
maybe they want to ask Mrs. Van Gaal if she wants to hang around for a bit longer.
Guardiola might want to go
that's possible.
To Manchester United. I'll tell you one thing that was put to me this morning by a former England international. Yeah. He said, you won't believe how over the last couple of years the lure of a London team has become so strong for international managers.
Well, that is
he was talking about Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, that is a practical consideration.
Yeah.
You could live in Manchester and live in one of these, amazing apartments or live in a lovely mansion in Cheshire.
Yeah.
And I suspect that Pep Guardiola is not one. I mean, yes, the restaurant business is a big draw, but he's not the sort of guy that's going to go out to clubs every night or anything, is he?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. But again, as you quite rightly say, where would his family want to live? Where would they want to go to school?
Did you see the reports of Frank Lampard's wedding?
Yes, I did.
10-hour party that took place after the reception.
And by the way, I thought Christine Bleakley looked absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, well, no creeping and crawling.
No, I'm not creeping and crawling. I thought she looked like a real fairy tale bride. I really did. And
did you think she was showing off a bit too much cleavage?
Well, that's entirely up to her. I mean, our bride wants a dress.
You normally have a rule of thumb on this.
No, not really. I don't think she was. I mean...
you didn't like the fact that Jose Mourinho's daughter was doing it.
No, but Christine Bleakley had a low-cut dress, but it didn't actually expose her cleavage, so I thought it was very elegant. No, it didn't.
Of course it did.
No, I thought it was very elegant.
Don't talk rubbish.
And...
what are you talking about?
And I thought it was, it was a beautifully managed do by the sound of it.
So you're not going to have a go at them for getting bladdered for drinking for 10 hours?
Well, how do you know they were bladdered?
Well, because they were drinking for 10 hours.
Well, no, hang on.
I saw a picture of Ant and Dec coming out.
Yeah, well,
and they looked like they were not all completely compos mentis.
I wouldn't agree. I thought they looked fine. They were both with their wives.
You haven't looked at the pictures, have you?
Yes, I have. They're both with their wives. They looked fine there.
Right.
There's no evidence at all that the bladderation was going on.
Really?
I know Frank Lampard to be a very moderate drinker. I know Christine Bleakley to be a moderate drinker. I know.
What do you know about Christine Bleakley?
I know Frank's.
What do you know about her?
I know Frank's dad.
What do you know about her?
I know Frank's dad.
She was at Piers Morgan's party, you know.
Oh, was she? Yeah.
Christine Bleakley.
Okay. Yeah. I know Frank's dad. That's Frank Senior. He's not a heavy drinker either. So.
Well, how do you know him then?
Sorry.
Well, how do you know him?
That's a stupid question.
If he's not a heavy drinker, well, why would you hang around with him?
So
then?
you're insinuating all the time, aren't you? That,
not at all. I'm not insinuating anything.
One of the veins of your life is the bladderation trail. That's
Me?
you turn
Not
every
true.
conversation towards it.
No, I'm just saying
I think
it's
it's
unlike
rather
you to be
disgraceful.
friends with people who don't drink very much.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Is that right?
Well, that is right, yeah.
Yeah, OK. Well, Harry Redknapp doesn't drink very much. In
Well, he's
fact,
not
he
a friend
hardly
of yours
drinks at
either.
all. Of course he's a friend of mine.
When was the last time you
I
saw
don't
him?
like to boast about it. I saw him at the Bournemouth game 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw him at the Bournemouth game as well.
No.
But he's not a mate of mine.
No. I was
He
chatting
was on television
with him at the Bournemouth game.
Oh, you were chatting with him?
at the Bournemouth game.
Right. What did you chat about?
In the executive suite.
What did you chat about?
We chatted about the...
Did he congratulate you on the massive charity donation you made?
Yes, he did, actually, yeah. And we chatted about the global managerial situation.
Oh, yeah.
And we chatted a little bit about something else, but I can't remember what it was, actually.
No,
But it
I'm
was a
sure he
relevant
can.
story on the day.
Yeah. all
Yes,
right.
yes.
Okay, well, we'll talk
He
some
was
more about...
he found me
About
fascinating.
your high-profile, teetotal friends.
Yes.
This comes as news to me. Well, you bought them all for Christmas. You bought them a present, have you?
I'm not...
I'm going to give you a present coming up.
I'm not going into my private
That's what I'm going
life
to do.
here. Oh, really?
Yeah,
You
coming
got
up
one?
next. Yeah, I've got one for you.
Excellent.
Coming up next, Porky gets his Christmas present from me.
This Boxing Day, it's Mark Wahlberg versus Will Ferrell.
So today I'm finally meeting the father of my stepkids. Holy, I hope that's not him.
From Paramount Pictures and Red Granite Pictures.
Looks like we got ourselves a good old-fashioned dad-off. Ow! Did you just punch me in the face, Brad? Ow, yes.
May the best dad win.
Hey, who wants goodnight tickles? Goodnight back scratches. Hey, who wants $20? What?
Daddy's Home. In cinemas everywhere Boxing Day. Rated 12A.
We took the all-new Mitsubishi L200 Series 5 across the globe for 18 days and 4,267 miles. We conquered the Sahara Desert and the Atlas Mountains to show the world the most manoeuvrable, economic, efficient, safest and capable pickup we've ever made. The Mitsubishi L200 Series 5, showing the world how it's done. Search Mitsubishi L200 and test the best.
Make sure you're ahead of the game and listen to Kick-Off on TalkSport with 888 Sport. Bet you can. Tonight from 7, get in-depth analysis, heavyweight pundit opinion and outspoken fan reaction on the nation's most passionate pre-match football forum.
You won't miss a trick, flick or kick of any of the action.
Plus, hear the latest form and odds ahead of all the matches that matter from 888 Sport's On The Ball Bet Spurt. Kick-Off, weeknights from 7 on TalkSport with 888 Sport. Bet you can.
Christmas 2015 on Talk Sport, the radio station that would much rather have the cash equivalent.
Terms and conditions apply.
Thanks all the same. Talks.
Need to play Christmas songs, or we're a bit sick of Christmas songs.
Do you know what I'm sick of?
I don't want to hear too many Christmas songs. But
No,
we're going to
I
play a
don't.
lot of Christmas songs on our show on Christmas Eve.
Are we?
Right. Well, yeah, because then you play them, because it's Christmas.
I'm not sure about that.
Don't be so. You said you were in the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, I'm in the Christmas spirit.
You're just annoyed that Padre Parry's upstaged you.
No.
That's what I think.
No.
By the way, if you haven't seen the Padre Parry video, please go and look at it on Two Mics TV. Because
Mics
I think
TV.
it's sensational, actually.
Well,
and this guy, Padre Parry,
yes,
has definitely got a lot more about him.
I only
in
wish
the singing area.
I only wish I'd been here to do the duet with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you can't do everything. Peter says this,
yeah.
by the way. That's the first time ever we've seen Porky without that horrendous blue and white striped size X shirt. #, fashion plank.
What's that?
Well, that's because it's not him.
No, it's not me.
I mean, Padre Parry
I wasn't here.
has a striking resemblance to Porky,
Yeah,
but
well,
actually far more Christian.
I think we have the same values, and it reflects in our face. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Same straightforward, stay on the rails type life.
Yeah. Kenny says, surely the best English player of all time has to include Kevin Keegan. He has to be up there. Arthur says...
he was a very fine player who tried very hard, but he wasn't exactly the greatest Englishman ever, was he?
Oh, well, I don't know.
No,
it says, Kenny says, Bobby Moore lifted 3 different trophies in 3 consecutive years, all at Wembley.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Arthur says, semolina on your face tonight already, and now saying a German sounds like a plane.
Yes.
What a way to drive into work.
Yes.
Hashtag wankle.
Excuse me, I'm not having any of that sort of language on this show.
And Paul says, is the Portmeister on the Christmas juice already, as his pronunciations are particularly slurred tonight? Early bladderation.
No, it hasn't been any bladderation. There won't be any now until Christmas Day morning. Now...
Well, hang on, we did a show on Christmas Day morning. Are we going to have a drink?
No, we're not. No,
I'm not sure we're allowed to have a drink.
No, we're not going to have a drink. It'll be later on in the morning when I arrive at the family seat in...
Does the family seat have an ensuite?
Yes, it does, actually, yes. It also has an extensive...
It's not a family seat. It's just a big, snobbish, nouveau riche mansion, isn't it?
No.
You know what they call those in America, those places?
What?
McMansions.
No.
It's a McMansion.
Oh,
you're not allowed to park on the drive unless you've got a nice car that costs at least $38,000.
Yes, but it's been extensively renovated. It's not been built to resemble anything else. It's just been extensively
renovated. It's got
renovated.
7 bedrooms, 7 ensuite bathrooms.
What's wrong with that?
Well,
that's a very nice house, isn't it? You're describing.
It's over the top.
It's not.
It's not necessary.
It's how...
How many people live there? On a general level, I mean, I don't mean when you have guests.
Depends.
Well, no, how many people live there permanently?
Well, I don't know. I'm not getting into details of the family. Well, I don't know.
Is there a family of refugees there?
No. I don't know what my
You don't know
family's
how many people
arrangements
live
are.
in your sister's house?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No.
Well, could you hazard a guess?
No, I can't, because I'm not going to get into the guessing game. Listen, I want to ask you something.
Hang on, I have to give you a present now.
You haven't.
But
really
let me
got
read you
a
this.
present
Rob
for me.
says, well, I just said I'm giving you a present after the break.
Where is it then?
It's here. Rob, I just want to read you this one. The aircraft family, later reformed as the Lighthouse family, wrote a few hit songs.
Yeah, I tell you, I was reformed and gone on the road.
Yeah.
The Bay City Rollers.
Well, you know,
and they're rocking the country.
Do you know who's promoted it, don't you?
Donald.
Yeah.
Our
man from the garage.
friend from the garage in Glasgow.
Who promotes us as well up there.
I'll tell you what, I've seen a bit of coverage of them, and all the women are going mad again.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go and find the audience that they got.
Why?
Well, because then we can have women throwing their clothes at me and all this kind of stuff.
Why do you want that?
Well, it makes you feel good, doesn't it? It says here, there may be a quite...
You wouldn't be able to do anything about it, would you? Only 1/3 of your heart works.
They may be quite a bit older than when they first worshipped their heroes, but that didn't stop tartan-clad fans rolling back the years. They were out in force for the long-awaited return of the Bay City Rollers, the Scottish 1970s boy band.
We know who they were.
Here, get this.
You don't have to include. Hang on. The qualification.
Yeah. Stuart Wood, now 58. Lead singer Les McEwen, now 60, and bassist Alan Longmuir, who's 67. Good God!
Well, that's not that old. That's much older than you.
Thrilled the audience at the sold-out Barrowlands venue.
Barrowlands.
Now, do you know Barrowlands?
Very well.
In Glasgow.
It's another iconic venue.
Now, why didn't we play Barrowlands then?
Well, Barrowlands, I mean, even by our standards,
yes.
Barrowlands is probably not the ideal venue for us. I mean, you saw how rowdy it was at the garage, right?
Yes.
Barrowlands is slightly bigger and more rowdy.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And it's more of a music venue, really.
Yeah. Before the concert, McEwen
said... It's
a
kind of pogo dancing type place.
I've given up pogoing. I got to the stage where I was breaking the pogo stick, so I thought, well...
You're not on a pogo stick when you pogo dance.
Well, I mean...
Do you not know what pogo dancing is?
Yeah, it's jumping up and down like a pogo stick.
Yeah, but you're not on a pogo stick.
Well, you can be.
Well, if you went to a Sex Pistols concert with a pogo stick, somebody would have whacked you around the head with it.
Well, probably. Anyway.
I love the idea of you pogoing in the front of a show.
Yeah, that's right.
On a stick.
Yeah, why not? So anyway, Les McEwen says, I think it's going to be great. We're coming back to say thanks to the fans that were there when I was 17.
Well, it's not strictly true, that, is it?
Well, I don't know.
They're coming back to make some money, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I hope so. We're coming back to entertain those people and the young people who want to see a professional band who are part of pop history. That's a good line, that, to say we were part of pop history, come and see us.
Sir?
I like that. Originally a 5-piece band, which included Eric Faulkner.
Yeah, one of them's not in it, though, right?
And Alan's brother, Derek Longmuir.
Yeah.
They sold 100 million records in the early 70s. They enjoyed a string of #1 singles and albums across the world. They met with hysteria, dubbed Roller Mania. The first hit was Keep On Dancing. The best-known hits included Bye Bye Baby, Baby
Shang-a-Lang
Goodbye.
was one, wasn't it?
We sold more than 1 million copies and stayed at #1 for 6 weeks. Last major gig.
Shang-a-Lang?
Well, it doesn't mention Shang-a-lang here, but you're right. Well, we all Shang-a-lang as we go to the gang.
I saw some pictures. Donald posted some pictures on Facebook of the show, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. And it says...
they didn't seem to be wearing the same outfits.
Well, they weren't wearing tartan. Like, in the old days, they had, tartan trousers and everything.
They had the big wide flares, tartan trousers, tartan kind of around the waist.
I've got a picture.
The high-top trousers, all that.
Picture of young Les here, and he's wearing, a pair of... just jeans with trainers, but then he is wearing a blue. It's actually like a darts shirt, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Like a big flowing darts shirt, short sleeves. But it does have what I would say tartan epaulets. Epaulets around the shoulders.
Okay.
But
I'm surprised that they're not wearing the same. Why are they not wearing the same outfits?
Well, I can't answer that one.
Going back to that one.
Perhaps they think that would have been too much of a sort of reinvention.
Yeah, maybe. Here's one from Frazzle. He says, LVG. Just one letter shy of the word taxi. It's not bad. It's not as good as the other
I see. Taxi for LVG. Yes, I quite like that. Yeah.
You're just slow today.
No, I quite like that.
You've taken some kind of, you've taken one too many of the pills.
No.
28s to the 27.
No.
Steve says, I've got Top Gun on the box, 92 minutes gone. Please ask Porky to keep his mouth shut so as not to spoil the ending for me.
Okay, I won't spoil the ending. Has Tom Cruise's plane gone down yet into the drink?
Ask about that.
Which kills his mate, the navigator.
Well, don't give that away.
Well, they've probably seen the film before.
Now, are you ready for your present?
Yes, I am.
Now, I've searched far and wide after you sort of cruelly rejected my offer to buy you the Beatles album on the grounds that you were getting it from one of your snobby members of your family.
Yeah, that's nice, isn't it?
I've searched high and wide, and I thought I'll give you a choice actually of one present or another. Don't even mind looking.
Right, okay.
Don't mind peeking.
Yeah.
Now, I've got 2 calendars here.
Okay.
Because I know you're a man that likes to have a calendar.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, providing it's an Everton calendar.
Well, that might be one of them.
Okay.
But I can't tell you for sure if there's an Everton calendar. Right. But let's say this. There's one calendar that I know you'd really like.
Okay.
The alternative calendar I'm offering you tonight, as a one-time offer only, is Poldark.
Poldark.
Would you like a Poldark calendar or the mystery calendar?
I don't want either, thank you.
What do you mean don't want either? How can you say you don't want the mystery calendar if you don't know what it is? Could be Kelly Brook.
These are free gifts sent in.
No, they are not.
Yes, they are.
I bought these when I was out at the weekend Christmas shopping.
That is a lie.
It's not a lie.
It is an absolute lie.
This is not a lie.
We have a table out there and it's got 30 or 40 calendars on it.
That's purely coincidental.
Including Kylie Minogue.
Well, have you seen a Poldark one there?
No, because you've taken it off and brought it in here.
No, this one is not available through that means.
You can take your calendar and you can shove it. You think you're going to palm me off with a free
Poldark? Look,
free bit of rubbish should come into the.
You like Poldark? You said it was great.
You think I would have a Poldark calendar on my wall?
Well, I don't know. Nobody ever see it, would they?
Kind of a half-baked. Do you think I am?
Well, nobody would ever see it.
What's the other calendar?
It's Everton.
I will have that. That's mine anyway. That's mine. That was on the free table. It said you could take what you wanted.
On the free table.
And when I got in there was no Everton calendar. So that's mine anyway.
You
by
want this
right.
one? And you say you'd like this one?
No, I'm saying I'm having that one.
You want this one?
You've no right to seize it. You're not an Everton fan.
I haven't seized it. I bought this for you.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did.
Rubbish. How much did it cost you?
It cost me about £7.
Rubbish.
I did. I got it at Poundland.
Utter nonsense.
It was £10 before the game at the weekend.
In Poundland, you have to pay £1.
Poundland.
You have to pay £7. Even I know that.
Poundland. Oh, I've never heard anything so ridiculous.
Let me have a look at this.
You just said Poundland.
Poundland, yeah. This is right up to date. Now, this is
made... It's right up to date. It's a calendar of 2016.
This is made by Danilo, OK?
Danilo, yes.
They're the guys who manufacture them. And I know Mr. Danilo very well indeed.
Danilo, is that his name? What's his name, then?
Sorry?
If you know him so well.
In a former incarnation, when I was a very senior executive on a national newspaper, we used to do a lot of work with Mr. Danilo's company.
What's his name?
Get the calendars way ahead of them being up for sale.
Well,
and use
I
all
bought
the
that. I don't know who makes it.
Buy this.
I did buy it.
You are a liar.
That's horrible.
You're a liar.
That's a terrible thing to say.
Where did you buy it?
I told you I bought it at Poundland.
Well, if you bought it at Poundland, you'd only pay £1 for it. You said you paid £7, so your story's full of holes.
That's not true. When was
the last
time you
I'm taking this home anyway.
When was the last time you went to Poundland?
Can't remember.
They sell loads of things in there for more than £1.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
They sell aftershave in there for more than £1.
No, that's rubbish.
That's not rubbish.
Everything is £1.
No, it isn't.
And in fact, they're very
No,
clever.
it's not.
They go to people like Daz
It's
and
not.
Omo and say, make little boxes of washing powder that we can sell for £1. They do. They're clever.
No, they sell kitchen appliances for more than £1.
No, I don't think
They
so.
sell perfume for more than £1.
Well, why are they called Poundland then?
Because it gets people in.
Should they be called not only Poundland or non-Poundland or Poundland
Yeah, that would work.
Plus?
That would work.
Poundsland.
Not only Poundland.
Yeah, Poundsland or something like that.
Poundsland.
Anyway,
Well, no,
I am again absolutely abhorrent at your
That's not the right
pathetic
word.
attempt
Appalled
to
is what
curry
you're looking at.
favour. Yeah, appalled and by the abhorrent behaviour trying to curry favour with the audience. Try and make out that
I bought you a present,
have an
and
element
once again,
of generosity.
and once again, you've spurned my offer.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, because it's a mucky, disgraceful piece of gerrymandery.
Not at all.
Listen,
now, how about this,
What?
right? Now, this is amazing.
Okay.
You'll like this one from Thomas. He says, Hi, guys, great show. He says, listening live from an oil rig off Norwich.
Off Norwich? Didn't know there were any oil rigs off
Well,
Norwich.
I mean, you know, it is the beginning of the North Sea.
I suppose you're right, yeah.
He says,
but...
nightmare driving to the airport as there's no motorway.
No, of course there isn't. From East Anglia to civilization, there is no motorway.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Although Norwich is a very nice city. Except when Everton go there and absolutely massacre the local team. But
Not a very nice city for Manchester United fans to go to either.
Don't come away with a result.
Did I tell you I predicted that?
What?
The 2-1 to Norwich.
Yes, I've heard about that.
Yeah, okay.
What do you know about the Stone of Scone?
Hey?
The Stone of Scone?
The Stone of Scone.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very famous piece of Scottish history.
Yeah, where is it?
It was removed from its rightful place, and I thought it had been returned, to be honest.
No.
Has it still not been returned? Because the last time I was in Scotland, I thought they had returned it.
It's in Arbroath Abbey.
Yeah, well, it's in Scotland then.
No, what I mean is it belongs in Westminster. That's the point. Some Scottish people nicked it.
No, it doesn't. It belongs in Scotland.
No, it's the Stone of Destiny in Westminster Abbey.
No, it's not. It's a Scottish stone.
No,
That's why it's in Scotland.
No, it was stolen from Scotland by Edward I in 1296.
Yeah, exactly. So it's now back in Scotland. That's what I'm saying.
No, so that's
because when I was in Scotland, there was a campaign to get it sent back to Scotland.
No, it's so long ago that it can no longer be classified as theft.
No, that's not true.
It's been used as the seat
hang on a minute.
for the crowning of monarchs for centuries.
You're the same guy that wants the Elgin marbles to be returned to Greece.
Yeah, I do.
So
yeah.
how do you square that circle?
Hang on, it's not in Arbroath Abbey. I've just discovered it's in Edinburgh Castle.
Yeah, there you go.
It's been there since 1996.
That's what I mean. It was brought back there.
Yeah, it shouldn't be there.
Well, how can you say that it shouldn't be there when the Elgin marbles should be returned?
Because Great Britain is one island. The Elgin marbles are from Greece.
You were going to say El Greco,
No.
weren't
I was going to say from
Anyway, never mind.
Elginia,
yeah.
but they're in Greece.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
A terrific performance.
Turn of pace and eye for goal.
Shout about it.
Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics. There will be a podcast available, of course, and another edition of Winners and Losers coming up a little bit later on. 13-5 currently is the score.
Yes.
Porky's on the possibility of a hat-trick if he wins this one, which would be
Yes.
extraordinary. Now, here's one from Becky down in New Zealand.
Yes.
Came back from a consultation to hear you guys talking about women's cleavage and bladderation.
Yes.
Normal service is resumed.
Well, it's not a typical subject on a family show, but they just happen to they just happen to be in the news at the moment.
It's true.
Yes.
Ian says, you'll like this one. We've had the Porky jinx. What about the Brazil jinx? Jose was interviewed by him at the start of the season. It's all been downhill since.
Well, he's been interviewed by him twice, actually, because he did him again when he did his book
That's right.
launch at Waterstones in Piccadilly in London.
Yeah, indeed.
Yes.
Here's one from Captain Beefheart in Liverpool. Tubby gave you broken headphones. You give him a calendar. That is karma. And he says, have a good Christmas, MG, and all the best to the Yuletide plank.
Yeah. Listen, you said earlier, it won't happen that instantly at Manchester United.
Well, I'm
and
asking if you think it could.
Yeah, but let me just read you some things that are going to be reported in tomorrow morning's newspapers.
Yeah, all right, then, go on.
Louis van Gaal. Manchester United have beefed up security for Louis van Gaal after fans at Old Trafford turned on him. Extra miners were brought to the dugout area as tempers boiled over. You can't have that sort of thing happening at home games when your team are there.
Well, hang on. You know, my reaction to any kind of fan nonsense like that is outright. I mean, fans should not be allowed to intimidate in any sort of way.
No, but when they are...
Excuse me, I've just got some biscuits here.
What's going on here?
I'm just having a few biscuits.
Well, I don't want you eating biscuits in the middle of our show.
Look at these. These are good Christmas biscuits. You've got to have a Christmas biscuit.
You grabbed a whole handful of chocolate biscuits.
Look at these McVitie's Victoria. You can have a milk chocolate wheel. You can have a white chocolate cream
thank you. I don't want
wafer.
Thank you. take your biscuits and get out.
Milk
right?
chocolate. Don't talk to the executive producer like that. That's pretty rude.
I mean, what are we running around here?
These are great. You should have some of these, honestly.
A kids' party?
No, you cheer you up. You said you're in the Christmas spirit.
Well, get them away from me. This is a kindergarten. Goodness sake.
Kindergarten.
It's on a very special subject here. So I said, look, so one paper's reporting that there could be trouble in the dugout. Extra regards there. Another national newspaper reporting on our own exclusive poll.
Whose exclusive poll?
Manchester United should sack under-fire boss Louis van Gaal. An exclusive online poll has revealed a whopping 87... Never mind.
It's not ours, is it?
I'm telling you, I've just said a bunch of national newspapers tomorrow morning, right?
Okay.
A whopping 87% of supporters cast the vote think the Dutchman should sling his hook. So that's just two stories.
Yeah, but they're only saying that because they think they'll get Jose Mourinho. I mean, this could all be complete and utter balderdash.
Fergie time. Ex-boss steps into Old Trafford turmoil because what you're saying is piffle. Sir Alex Ferguson's helping decide Louis van Gaal's Manchester United fate.
Yeah.
The very fact that the last most successful manager of the club is now having to deliberate on whether the current guy should stay.
Let's not forget,
means he's got to go.
Let's not forget, Sir Alex Ferguson was the guy who brought you David Moyes.
Well, that's true.
And I've got here another chant for you.
Yeah.
LVG, LVG. He's just as bad as David Moyes.
Oh, that's a bit strained, isn't it?
That's good.
Bit strained. Another headline here.
I'm just thinking, you know how these things work.
Yes.
Jose Mourinho gets fired on Thursday.
Yes.
By Friday, he's already possibly in line to get Louis van Gaal's job. I just don't really see it at the moment.
Oh, I do. I see it.
I don't think the Manchester United kind of hierarchy...
Oh, it's a gift from God.
Well, you would think that.
It is a gift from God.
I'm not sure they know what they're doing.
And remember this, that Mr. Abramovich, if he sees Jose being appointed at Manchester United, and I think this is one reason why Jose wants it so badly, then Mr. Abramovich has to think, oh dear, have I just given away one of the world's great managers? Will this come back to haunt me in 2 years' time?
He may well do.
And of course it will.
He may well do.
Yeah, another headline here. Manchester United put Jose Mourinho on standby to take over as their manager. Under fire, Louis van Gaal is set to be given 2 Christmas games at Stoke on Boxing Day and home to Chelsea 40 hours later to save his job. I don't think it'll last that long.
Yeah, but hang on. We've seen these stories before, haven't we?
Yeah.
Steve McLaren had 2 games to save his job against Spurs and Liverpool.
Well, he won them both.
And he won them both.
Yeah, exactly.
So suddenly he's still got his job.
Yeah, well...
Jose Mourinho never had any games to save his job, and he's gone. So I'm not sure, actually, that these soothsayers of Fleet Street are in any way more informed than anybody else.
No, but the fact that it's such an active debate means, as far as I'm concerned, Louis van Gaal is now completely undermined. Old Trafford hierarchy have concerns over former Chelsea managers' antics if they decide to replace Van Gaal.
Doesn't get old, that, I'm afraid.
Sorry?
It never gets old, that.
No, OK. So, it is very active. Now, what are these chocolate biscuits like?
Well, I'm going to eat them now. I'm going to wait until we have an opportunity for me to eat them.
I think it's disgraceful.
During the break. We've got a nice cup of tea.
Do you know why I think it's disgraceful?
We've got a cup of tea, and I'm going to have a chocolate biscuit with my tea.
Do you know why I think it's disgraceful? That means...
I've got a chocolate wheel.
Yes, but what it means your saliva glands will become overactive.
Listen, I'm not as old as you, so my saliva glands are not prone to dribbling like yours.
It means your masticationary process will go out of sync.
There's nothing wrong with a bit of mastication.
That will affect the way you speak. And the way you speak is actually quite important on a radio talk show.
Did you see old Shane McGowan, by the way?
He's had his teeth done.
Finally, he's got his teeth done.
He's got a gold one.
Got to the point where he couldn't... Well, never mind that. He's actually got some.
Yeah, exactly.
He couldn't sing, apparently.
It must have been terribly painful when he had all those broken teeth, because that gives you toothache, doesn't it?
Well, I think after a while they become so deadened that there's no pain.
I think all the nerves were deadened.
Well, it's the nerves that give you the pain.
Ooh,
now, how about this one from D in Belfast? LVG, P45 means redundancy.
Oh, I like that. That's
good.
Very good, yeah.
And then he says you can take gigs as well because you've killed Man United with your world domination philosophy.
Philosophy. Yeah.
How about this from David in Nottingham?
Yes.
He says, I don't think Porky would appreciate any of his female fans throwing underwear at him. Whalebone can cause a nasty injury.
How very funny is that?
Yeah, I think that is very funny.
I thought we were going to come up with another LVG one. Have you come up with one?
Well, I haven't yet because I've been too busy trying to rein you in.
Too busy munching blinking biscuits.
Yet. William says, I thought Jamie Carragher summed Yaya Toure up. He was like a man with a heavy overcoat and a walking stick, waking up after 82 minutes.
Yeah, that's not bad. By the way, that isn't it interesting the way that they're trying to sort of mix and match the pundits now to see if they can bring back the sort of rather special relationship between Jamie Carragher and
do you know what I liken it to?
Gary Neville.
Do you know what I liken it to?
Gary Neville hasn't won yet, has he, in his role as manager? I don't think he has.
Yeah, he has. He had his first win after 3 games.
I thought he'd drawn them all.
No. No, he got a win in the Cup, I think.
Oh, in the Cup, okay.
So they were already something like 3-1 up or 4-1 up in the first leg.
That's right, yeah, you're right.
Now, you put me off what I was about to say there. Oh, I know.
Yes.
Here's what I liken it to. They will never find another Gary Neville in the same way that Manchester United will never find another Sir Alex Ferguson.
Well, you may be right.
Don't you think that's an amazing insight?
Not really. I think that's a statement of the obvious, if you see what I mean. You know?
Here's one that's just come in.
Yes.
LVG, about as much use as Mike Parry.
Yeah, that's funny.
His face.
Yeah?
It's brilliant.
I think that's pathetic.
Here's another one. LVG, stick your bloody philosophy.
Yeah, philosophy.
Those are coming in thick and fast now.
LVG, I got no philosophy. Yeah, I like that, yeah.
Here's one from AZ who says, Parry, 10-hour party, at Frank Lampard's wedding. I'm surprised Porky didn't gate crash it and do his usual thing by getting bladderated.
No, not at all. I didn't have a drink over the whole weekend. I had to go to a lunch on Friday, which I
didn't you have a mate? Didn't you have your friends over or something? No.
I didn't get involved in any of that. And today, by the way, sorry, I was doing a job this morning with Monsieur Brazil.
Oh, really?
And we got around to talking about
Why
Jimmy.
does that always sound so kind of like verging on the criminal?
What do you mean?
When you say I was doing a job with Mr. Brazil, it sounds like you were up at Hatton Garden.
No.
Sort of drilling through a few walls.
We were actually at our mate's place, the Sports Bar and Grill, Canary Wharf.
I got a message from him.
He's
having a drinks party
5 o'clock
tonight, isn't it?
Is it tonight?
I think so.
Is it? Okay, yeah, well, it's very nice. I got an invitation as well. No, I won't be able to either, but very, very decent chap. In fact, they're our are they our official drinks partner?
They are our official drinks
Sports Bar and Grill.
Yeah, we should really go, but I just don't know if I can.
Well, you know, it's a bit...
it's a tricky time.
Bit diplomatic, isn't it? You know what I mean?
I got invited out for a drink tonight at 11:30.
11:30 p.m.
As I was coming in.
Who by?
By a guy that I know who said, are you working tonight? Or are you in town? And I went, no, I'm working.
Yeah, and
he's like, oh, that's a shame. He said, I'm drinking champagne on the company bill.
Where?
Somewhere in London.
Oh, really? And
I didn't ask him where, because I couldn't go.
No, and what sort of company is it?
Well, a company that gives him a credit card to buy champagne with.
Is it a media company? Is it a technology company?
Why do you need to know that?
Because I want to know.
Why do you need to know?
Because if you tell me...
consequence who
you tell me which industry this company's in, I'll be able to gauge whether they are lavish with the old hospy or not.
I couldn't care less. If he's paying, then I'm going to go. But except I couldn't because I was on my way in here. Okay. Such is my dedication and devotion to duty.
Okay.
See the time, by the way.
I was going to say, we haven't said anything nice about Jimmy Hill yet, so we will in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
All right. This is Talk Sport. We'll say something nice about Jimmy Hill next.
Yes.
It's only one drive to work, on one busy morning, one line of traffic, one meeting to make, one gap, one chance to go a bit faster. It's just one pedestrian, crossing at one curbside. It's one ambulance, one police report, one public court case, one shattered family. That one time you drove too fast. One risk is one too many. Think.
Transport for London. Every journey matters.
I check the fixtures online. I order my pizza online. And when I want to check my sexual health, I can do that online too. The Confidant Home Test accurately checks for 10 main infections at the same time, from a single sample. It's fast, discreet, and it's 100% confidential. Order your Confidant Home STI test kit online at confidanttest.com. Results are not intended to replace medical advice and should be used as a convenient way of getting tested before consulting a GP. Age 16 plus. UK customers only. Terms and fees apply.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast on Talk Sport with the Ford Ranger. It's the breakfast show that doesn't compromise on delivering the biggest names from the world of sport.
That's the Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast every weekday morning from 6 a.m. on Talk Sport. Don't miss it.
The Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast. Weekday mornings from 6 on Talk Sport with the Ford Ranger. Ruthlessly tested across the harshest terrain on Earth. Find out more at ford.co.uk on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
The pressure's on now.
Relieve the itch. Talk Sport.
Madness, they call it madness.
So you don't want this Poldark calendar then?
No, I don't want it, no. In fact, throw it away. It's rubbish.
Well, no, I'm not going to throw it away.
Who in their right mind will put a Poldark calendar on the wall?
Well, people that like Poldark.
Some young lady, I suppose, who thinks that he's handsome.
What's interesting is that you would imagine that the main attraction of Poldark was the fact that this bloke paraded around shirtless most of the time.
Yeah, in Cornwall.
Yeah.
Yeah, galloping around on a horse.
All of the pictures of each of the months are on the back of this calendar.
Yeah.
And not one of them is he without his shirt.
No.
So if you really wanted a Poldark calendar, you'd want one of him... sort of glimmering in the sunshine, wouldn't you?
So that's like what I would call a dramatic calendar of
like doing a Kelly Brook calendar with her wearing a sort of
lots of clothes.
Well, not just lots of clothes, but like a nun's outfit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
in all the pictures.
Yeah, you're right. It shows dramatic episodes from Poldark.
Yeah,
but not enough of the action.
None of him with his shirt off.
Now,
a couple of people on the subject of me saying that Leicester City can well win the Premier League, and Spencer Pryor saying it was foolish. Julian says to say it's foolish is madness. And I'm with MG, who says Palace could not nick fourth place. Not so likely, but not ruled out.
Yeah.
We were all so correct and not foolish, we would all be rich.
Yeah, no,
I think that's very good.
I think it's very true.
I mean, it's such a weird season.
Of course it is.
I don't think... I mean, we spoke to Steve Nicol last week, do you remember? And he said, Leicester...
Steve Nicol.
Yeah, he's a very, difficult man at times, I mean, lovely guy that he is. He can be very grumpy. And he reckoned that, Leicester will make the top 10, not even the top 4.
Yeah.
And people have been saying that all year.
Yes.
And only I have been the one predicting that Ranieri would be a great success.
Only I.
Well, it's beginning to look that way.
Now, listen, I want to tell you about another of my campaigns which I've won.
Oh, yeah? You've won one?
I have.
Well, hang on, that's the first one you've ever won.
No, it's not.
You've never won a campaign before.
I have.
Not to my knowledge.
Well, anyway, this is another one I've won, okay?
What have you won?
From now on, learner drivers will have to include in their learning process driving on motorways.
Yeah, I thought they did that already.
No, they don't. They don't. You can pass your driving test in this country at the age of 17 without going anywhere near a motorway. And the minute you've passed it, you can then drive off.
Yeah, but I thought they said they were going to change it.
No, they are changing it.
Well, now they have changed it.
Learner drivers...
Well, that's not a campaign.
Will have to practice on motorways for the first time on the government plans to cut the death toll on British roads.
Oh, so that'll be fantastic. So the motorways are not messed up enough in this country. We're now going to have a load of learners on them.
That's
absolutely. A stupid idea.
No, it's not. It's the best idea.
It's a stupid idea.
A 17-year-old kid in a car that might be, a dodgy car because it costs £600 or something, suddenly passes his driving test, says, I think I'll drive down the M1 to London now to see my mate. I mean, it's
well, hang on.
It's a nightmare.
Hang on. So now he's going to be on the motorway without even having a licence. So you think that's better?
No.
Yeah, you're going to be going down the M1.
You're
going to be coming into this middle lane, and suddenly the guy's going to stall out because he doesn't know how to drive.
No, to learn how to drive now,
it's a
and
stupid
motorway
idea.
driving, of course, can be frightening to young and experienced drivers.
Well, all you need to know about motorway driving is, right, when you get to the 50-mile-an-hour zone, which is about every 3 miles, remember to slow down because there'll be cameras trying to catch your every move. Remember, if you want to stop off and get ripped off in one of the most expensive and most horrible places to eat in life, that's a good place for you. Don't, by any stretch of the imagination, try and have a rest in one of those places, because if you stay there for too long, they'll fine you. And basically, if you can travel any other way other than by motorway, please do it, because it'll be much quicker.
That's all rubbish.
Those are all the rules.
That's all rubbish. You're just making that up in your head.
It's not. That
That
is my experience of motorways in this country at the moment.
In this country, last year, it cost us £16.3 billion. That was the bill to the public services.
For what?
Accidents on motorways. Accidents on motorways.
So that's before the learners are on them.
16. Yeah, but
now the learner's going to be on them. How many worse accidents are there going to be?
No, you've got it all on its head. You've got it on its head.
No, I haven't.
If a learner with a qualified driver instructor in the car with him goes on a motorway before he passes his test, he then becomes a proficient driver.
No, but he
Can't
can
you
now
see
drive.
That, you thick-oy?
No, because he can now drive. Once he's on a motorway with a licence, he can now drive a car.
Yeah, having practised on the motorway before he got his licence.
It doesn't matter.
At the moment, he can go on the motorway without ever having been on a motorway before. It's ludicrous.
No, but at least he can now drive, is my point.
The first time you drove on a motorway?
I can't remember, no.
I'm trying to remember if I can.
Well, I learned to drive in America, so my first motorway experience was probably on a motorway over there.
Like a highway or freeway?
Yeah, I-95.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember the first time I went on a motorway. It was probably, thinking out loud, it was the M53, which goes from
the M63?
Chester to Birkenhead, and then through the Mersey Tunnel.
Where's the M63 go?
The M63 goes round Manchester.
Does it?
Yes, doesn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it does, yeah.
I don't think it exists anymore.
No, hang on.
I think they did away with it.
No, the
We've done this before.
Yes, we have, yeah. The M62 goes over the Pennines. That's all I know.
Yeah.
No, that's not all I know. No, hang on. I don't know everything, but there are things I do know. Right?
Here's
that's
one
a famous line from a song sung by who?
I don't know. Didn't recognise it.
Come off it. Come on. It's one of those famous songs. I don't know everything, but there are things I do know.
Oh, yeah, you're butchering it to such an extent that I can't think of the melody. I recognise the words, but tell me, who is it?
It's Michael Jackson from the Jackson 5.
Is it?
I.e., when he was in the group with his brothers.
Well, I know what the Jackson 5 are.
Yeah. Well,
which song is it?
Well, that's the song. I've just told you the song.
Yeah, but you've just sung me the 2 lines from it. Which
that's the first 2 lines.
Sing it again.
I don't know everything. Well, I'm doing the shoulder actions of Michael Jackson.
Moonwalk, whatever you do.
I don't know everything, but there are things I do know.
Yeah, it rings a bell, but you're singing it so badly.
I'm trying to think of the chorus for the name of the song.
Yeah. I'll give you a couple of LVG chants in the meantime.
Together, every night and day. I don't know what the actual song's called, but I know the words to it,
LVG, can't hold a candle to Ranieri.
That's quite good. Like that. That's good, yeah.
And I'm afraid Geordie hasn't quite got it.
Right.
He says he's Geordie's night shift driving back to Newcastle on the A19. He says he's thinking of LVG rhymes. He's got one here. LVG, please resign and we'll party.
Oh, I quite like that.
Not bad.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Keep them coming because...
they're very good, aren't they?
Yeah, it's not like we're jumping on a bandwagon or anything. It just seems to be the popular move.
Well, no, but it's
like
all these things. It's something to do with the LBJ thing. Now, how about this from Thomas?
Yes.
Porky's not going to like this, but United need to offer Everton 100 million plus Rooney for Stones, Lukaku and Barkley.
Mm-hmm. So they'd want to take Stones, Lukaku and Barkley.
And give them back Rooney and 100 million.
I think if Lukaku ever leaves Everton, and one hopes that he won't, I think he'll probably go back to Chelsea.
Huh?
I think he'll probably go back to Chelsea.
Lukaku?
Yeah, I think so.
Did you see him thanking Mourinho, though, for letting him go?
Yes, I did see that.
So if Mourinho goes to Man United, maybe he'd like to go back and play for him there. Because Lukaku's only, sort of goal in life is to play in the Champions League. And I'm afraid he's not going to be playing in the Champions League next year.
That's one of the goals of his life. But
he said that. He always said he wants to play in the Champions League.
Yes, I know that, and you're absolutely right. But no, what I was going to say is that you don't talk about players leaving your club. You hope that your club will start meeting their expectations, and that is well within Everton's reach in the next 18 months.
No,
it is.
If they had stopped, you're drawing with everybody and losing vital games, then maybe this was their chance. This was their season. Yeah. We'll talk about it, I'm sure, in winners and losers.
Yeah.
Lee says Porky's off his head talking total rubbish. 10-hour benders, you tend to get well drunk. That's with reference to the Lampard wedding.
Funny you should say that. I was reading one of my psychological journals today.
Oh, yeah.
And, sometimes...
Were you ordered to do that?
No, sometimes you accuse me of being a bit sort of vague or a bit dizzy or something like that.
Yeah, I've never accused you of being vague.
Yeah, you do.
Never.
Anyway, absent-mindedness, right, is actually a blessing. It means you're a fast learner.
It's interesting. We were talking about nothing in particular. I can't remember how it came up, but I was with my kids in the car the other day.
Oh, yes.
And my youngest said to me, wouldn't it be great if you could forget things? Isn't that interesting?
What?
Wouldn't it be great if you could forget things?
What, do you mean like horrible experiences?
Well, I suppose. I said, well, don't worry if you live long.
We must be talking about the...
Well, we were actually talking about breaking down in the Land Rover and sitting on the hard shoulder, in the lay-by for about 3.5 hours.
In the New Forest?
Yes.
Which
has no trees.
Did he? Yes, that's right. Did he find that an upsetting experience?
Well, it wasn't very pleasant for anyone.
Well, it wasn't, no, I agree. And the pressure was on you to get it sorted. As your father of the boys.
I did my best to get it sorted.
Yeah.
I was compensated, as I told you, by the breakdown company and the bank for making such a hash of it. So thank you very much for trying to make out that it's my fault.
Yeah,
it was not my fault. Well, they admitted liability and paid me handsomely in compensation.
Yes.
But what we were saying was...
Which you spend on booze, presumably.
I've probably spent it on a great many things. Christmas presents, possibly. That calendar may have been part of the payout.
Anyway, listen to this. It says, scientists say that if one thing slips your mind, as soon as you move on to the next, you may actually be setting yourself up to do better at the second, and that forgetting could be the key to learning.
You're saying conscious forgetting?
Well, Glasgow University researcher Edwin Robertson, hey, Robbie from Glasgow, said...
No, it's Edwin, actually.
Edwin, OK. This means that it is quite natural and normal to forget things as soon as you've learnt them. Right? So, and Professor...
Well, especially if you're absent-minded.
Old Robbie is a prof.
Robbie's not his name.
It says Professor...
Edwin is his name.
Professor Robertson asked people to learn list of words quickly followed by a sequence of finger taps similar to the movements made when keying a pin into a cash machine. He found that when the words...
Well, you don't want to forget that, do you?
Well, hang on. He found that when the words and taps shared a similar rhythm, the movements were learnt more quickly. However, this came at a cost... What's your problem? What's your problem?
Why are you shouting?
Because
However,
But I'm trying to instruct you in this. However, I've lost my place now.
Yeah.
However,
Have you forgotten what you're saying?
Yes, I have. Yeah. This came at a cost because the more of the words were forgotten, the effect was seen only when.
What?
Hang on.
You're talking about pin.
The effect was seen only when the two tasks were done in quick succession. It suggests.
Sorry, I've lost you. You're talking about pinning in your pin number, aren't you?
Listen, I'm telling you, explain to you. It suggests when volunteers tried to memorise the tapping sequence before their thoughts about the word list were stored away, the brain pilfered from the initial memory, allowing it to do better on the finger movements.
Well, what word list?
The word list that you were asked to get into your head before you started tapping on the pad with
Who
the
asked
numbers
you to
that
put the word list? Who?
Look, it just proves that what it's basically
Hang on, are you
saying...
saying that you have a word list for your PIN number?
Eh?
Are you saying that you've got a word list for your PIN number?
No.
Well, why have they got one?
Well, it helps.
You don't know, do you?
It helps.
Why does it help?
Here.
So, say your PIN is, I don't know,
the prof.
5431.
The prof.
Right?
The prof.
What's your reminder for that?
Hang on. The prof asked people to learn lists of words quickly followed by a sequence of finger taps, similar to the movements made when keying a pin into a cash machine. I've read that to you once.
Why?
Well, because, look, what it basically says
just remember the numbers.
I've read the whole essay.
I don't think you have.
I don't think I'll say. And what it basically says is... It's a good thing to declutter your mind.
Really?
And the best way to declutter your mind...
Your mind hasn't got much in it.
Hang on. The best way to declutter your mind is to constantly forget things. What is your problem?
Oh, dear.
Well, if you forget things, then your brain's not full.
Well, if your brain doesn't work, you can't remember anything.
Your brain's like a filing cabinet, and you only get so many files in a filing cabinet
like
before you lose the file.
Yeah.
So what you're going to do is, basically, it's saying when you...
You know what your brain's like? It's like an undefrosted freezer.
When you've... that's not going well. When you've got a new fact, sometimes it's better to delete an old fact, forget something, to get the new fact
So
in.
what was the most recent thing you forgot?
Let me see. The most recent thing I forgot was...
You can't remember, can you?
No. There must have been something I've forgotten. Oh, I think I forgot to post a Christmas card on Friday.
Did you?
And it stayed around until I spotted it again on Sunday.
Right.
That's true.
All right. So you didn't really forget then?
What?
You haven't really forgotten?
Well, it was drawn to my attention by the fact that I placed it strategically in case I did forget it.
Ah, okay. Right. Forgetful insurance, that is.
Eh?
We'll talk about that coming
Yes,
up.
that's right, yes.
With Lisa Daley, who's coming up next.
Okay.
Talk Sport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Freedom for sport. Can we kick it? Yes, we can. Talk Sport.
We are the two mics. There will be a podcast coming out. There will be winners and losers coming up in a little while as well. Of course, we've got loads and loads of great tweets to read out. We will get to them all.
Oh, yes.
Don't worry, we haven't got all of them at the
Are
moment.
we getting a response to the Christmas carol sung by Padre
we are.
Parry?
Yeah, lots of people being very complimentary. But
Are
you know
they?
me, I don't like to read out too many complimentary
Oh, well, I think
tweets.
we should... but remember, it's not about us, it's about Padre Parry.
Yeah, but
so
still.
It's a third party, so that's fair enough.
It's like I don't like to keep saying brilliant show and stuff like that. You know, it's a bit self-serving.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
I'm
it's all about me, so don't
Well,
worry
I know
about
that
it.
you're slightly more in tune with all of that than I am. Well, maybe you should find some instead of just sitting there, you know, like a stone.
No, I'm not sitting like a stone, mate. I'm watching the Angles.
How about this?
Angles.
LVG can't get a tune out of Wayne Rooney. That's great, isn't it?
I like that,
Some of these are brilliant.
I like that. Very
Keep
good
them coming,
indeed.
please. You text them to 81089, email via the website talksport.com, and you can find us, of course, on Twitter at the Two Mics.
Right.
Let's talk to Lisa Daley, because Christmas, as you well know, Mr. Parry,
Absolutely.
is a time for celebration, family. Some people, though, however, spend it alone.
And bladderation.
Some people find themselves on their own, and we're going to get Lisa now to give us a few tips, you specifically, on how to pick up a nice young lady for a bit of Rogerisation.
Oh, well, I mean, come on, romance, you mean?
Romance.
Romance.
Lisa, very good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be back.
Yeah, welcome back
Lisa,
to the show.
great to have you on the show.
Now,
Thank you.
We're only a few days away from Christmas, and, on a serious note, there are some people who are rather lonely at this time of year, but we're not interested too much in that. What we're interested in is people who are not necessarily at the moment à deux, if you know what I mean. And Christmas is quite a good time to find yourself a partner in life, isn't it?
Christmas is actually a really tough time to find yourself a partner.
Is it?
And the reason, it really is. There are a few opportunities,
But one of the reasons it's so tough is that people want to sort of stay, and if they're already in a relationship, they don't want to be like the jerk who ruins Christmas,
right.
And so they'll kind of stay in until after the New Year. Also, you don't want to make sure that you have a date for New Year's Eve, and so a lot of times they will stay in a relationship that they're in.
Right.
Although January tends to be like a huge month for breakups.
You mean you mean people don't like to break up in December because they have no one to take to New Year's Eve?
Exactly.
That's awful,
so
isn't it?
That's a big. It is awful. It's a terrible thing. And then once you hit sort of the last couple of weeks of January, you have a little, another sort of dating freeze. People don't want to break up before Valentine's Day. But there are some good places to meet people.
Well, what about the office party? I mean, most people have probably had their office party, but it's a pretty good opportunity, isn't it?
It's a really good opportunity. And the other thing is, a lot of times, if you're going to your office party and you're single, you can bring a friend or a roommate, and you go to their party, they go to your party, so everybody at the party is going to be employed. You know who the guy is who stuffs the paper clips up his nose when he thinks nobody's looking, or the lady that has 59 cats. So it's actually a really good way to meet someone. The only thing is, at the office party, you don't want to have like the big, hook up on the copy machine, because you are still going to have to see each other at work the next day.
That's true.
So if you are going to hook up with somebody at work, you want to make sure it's not your boss or your employee,
right.
And you want to take it outside the office.
So somebody on the same level.
Yeah, no, I tell you. You see, Lisa, the problem here is this.
You spent your entire career picking up people that work for you.
No.
Yes, you did.
No. Lisa, the problem here is this, that when people get together at Christmas parties, they're all saddos, because they only go out once a year, right? They get out
That's
there.
very harsh.
And one saddo who can't attract, a partner in life meets another saddo who's got the same problem. The two saddos get together.
Well, that's a good thing.
A sad relationship develops, probably only lasts a few days, maybe a few weeks or something like that. Then it busts up, okay? So my advice to the saddos would be not to go out at all, because it's a heartbreaker. You suddenly think you found romance, only to be booted out by another saddo. That's even worse than just being booted out by somebody who's normal. But to get the boot from a saddo, because you are a saddo, is like bad news.
Well, I think you're being unfair on saddos.
No, I think I'm being right here, Lisa, aren't I?
Well, it is true that whatever sort of emotional level that we're on is what we attract. So if we're really depressed and miserable and drinking by ourselves at the office party, then that is exactly who we're going to be appealing to.
That sounds quite familiar, that sounds like Porky down to a T. Mm-hmm. In fact, he was so depressed he didn't even come to our office Christmas party this year.
No, but that wasn't because I was depressed. That was because, and I can, I tell you, this is the truth, I don't wish to be in a festive, happy mood in a situation that does not suit my intellectual merriment or state of merriment at the time.
So you don't like that mandatory fun thing?
Exactly. Well, look, come on. We've all got to be happy. Ha 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 ha. And somebody standing there who you actually despise because they're a weak, snivelling individual who you'd rather, actually throw off a balcony or something. No, I don't mean that. I don't mean that. That's a shocking thing to say. I wouldn't urge violence against anybody. But somebody who you basically want to get a few drinks down your throat and then tell them what you really think of them, it's dangerous territory. And that's why I don't go to these things.
Well, certainly it is dangerous.
What a Grinch, eh? What a Grinch.
Imagine having to throw people off balconies.
Imagine having to sit and work with a person like that, Lisa.
Exactly.
He's so charming.
It's not any surprise that he's single, do you know what I
mean? No. That's nothing to do with it at all. Now, Lisa, the other thing is, although I think you do an absolutely brilliant job in trying to help those people who need your emotional support, are you not encouraging them to be cranks and misfits and people like this just by being there?
Well, here's the thing. If they are cranks and misfits, I definitely am encouraging them to be cranks and misfits, just because I think it's always a good idea to just be yourself. So if that's who you are, certainly there is somebody on the planet who will love you for being a crank or a misfit.
Okay.
Or a cranky,
there's somebody out there for everyone. You've got to believe that, haven't you?
Well,
absolutely. And a lot of times there's more than one somebody for everybody. But if you're on your couch crying into a pizza box.
Yes.
You have way less chance of meeting someone great than if you're just out in the world, or if you're at a party, or even if it's a terrible office party. As long as you're out, maybe you meet somebody in the elevator, maybe you meet somebody, at the salad bar, at the little shop on the corner.
Yeah.
You never know.
What about Santa's grotto?
Yeah, Santa's grotto. But Lisa, I can tell you now for sure, a great night for me would be devouring a pizza with ham, pineapple, and mushroom on it over a period of time.
Own?
Yeah, even on my own.
What do you mean, even on your own?
Rather than going out and making hapless, hopeless, embarrassing attempts to try and attract a member of the opposite sex who, at the end of the day, will cause me grief, heartache, and ruin.
It's certainly true that could happen.
Thank you.
But on the other hand, the other thing that could happen is that you can meet somebody that you really connect with, who's been dying to find someone who wants to sit on the couch and eat ham and pineapple pizzas.
I don't think there's anybody good.
Madly love.
Say that. Come on, let's hear the truth.
I don't think there's anybody good enough for me out there, Lisa.
Good enough? By what do you mean that?
Up to my standards.
Standards of what?
Well, standards of acceptability, standards of intelligentsia.
Not physical beauty, obviously.
Physical beauty, another one. People who like sharing a good bottle of wine with me in an expensive restaurant, that sort of thing. I mean, Lisa, these people are hard to find, and you come to a stage in life where you stop wasting your time trying to find the impossible.
Well, if you stop looking, then certainly it will be impossible. But it's kind of silly to think that there's no one in the whole wide world that wouldn't be compatible with you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's somebody out there.
Bottom line is, I think, Lisa, he doesn't really want to have a partner in life because he's become...
I think that's the truth.
Yeah, he's become a bit of a Grinch in his old age. He wasn't always like this. I mean, I've known this guy a long time, right? Yeah. He was quite normal about 30 years ago. I don't know what twisted him and turned him into this negative individual that sees no joy in anything at all. I just don't know.
Lisa, can't you have respect for people who decide that they're bold enough, they're brave enough, they're confident enough, they're so in control of themselves, they can go through life without constantly searching for a crutch?
What?
Oh, absolutely. Well, not even just a crutch. There are lots of people who not even a crutch, although some people do need the crutch. But no, I absolutely think that there are some people who are just happier when they're single. They, they have a good group of friends. But they just don't want to.
But are you not an incomplete person if that's the case?
No, of course you're not.
No, of course not. No, in fact, you should be a complete person before you go out searching for love. That whole, you complete me thing.
Without the physical act, right? Are you not an incomplete person?
Well, sex and love are not necessarily the same thing. So you could be alone and still have sex on a regular basis.
Yeah, I'm not saying sex and love are the same thing, but I'm saying people who don't have sex and who take the view that they don't actually want to have any kind of interrelationship of any kind with a female person or a male person or a person of the same sex, whatever, doesn't that mean that there's something missing?
Well, there are some people who are that's just the way they're built. They just have no interest in sex,
right?
and that's...
But they say that,
right,
but
sure.
I don't believe that.
Well, that's like saying you don't believe in, gravity or homosexuality.
No, it's not.
There are people on the planet that say, I'm not interested in sex.
It's nothing like that. I think people who say they're not interested in sex are just... something's happened to them, right? They've either had a bad experience or, somehow they fear it or something like that.
But you're obsessed with sex.
No, I'm not obsessed with it.
Yes, you are. You're always
Absolutely
chasing young women.
Not true.
You are chasing young women all over the place, all the time. Lisa, I'm telling you, he goes around chasing young women. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Listen, it's not true.
And Lisa, let me tell you this. I have met some women, right, at various stages of my life, who say... Oh, I'm 44 now, and I still haven't given up on the dream life. I'm going to meet a chap. We're going to have babies. We're going to have a big house with 5 ensuite bathrooms. And
these are only people that you meet in your sister's house, right?
Our children are going to go to great schools and become doctors.
This is why he never had... No, this is your dream, actually.
No,
it's your
not.
dream. And because you haven't achieved it now by the time you're 60, now you're giving up on it.
No, I'm nowhere near 60, by the way, Lisa. And I tell you, their whole lives are blighted by the fact they feel themselves to have completely failed on the mission to have the perfect life. But nobody has a perfect life, Lisa. Even you, I suspect, has not got the perfect life.
So see how negative he is?
Yeah, you know what? It's true nobody has a perfect life.
Okay.
And you are right that if you focus on things like the ensuite bathroom and the right school, you are setting yourself up for misery.
Exactly.
And the reason people do that, they need all these sort of trappings. I have to go to these places, or I need to have, this type of furniture.
And especially a nice car, that kind of thing.
Exactly. They're trying to make their outside life look like the way that they want to feel. And the truth is that those things, the bathrooms and the car and all the other stuff, it doesn't really have any impact on how you feel. And so you can be happy if you don't have 5 bathrooms, and you can be miserable if you do.
Exactly.
So, and there are a lot of people that have a very long list of I have to have.
How about 7
I've got to have
ensuite
this, and this. Well, now there's no reason to be unhappy if you have 7 ensuite bathrooms.
Quite frankly, I'd rather be miserable and have a choice of 7 bathrooms than be miserable and have to visit an outside bathroom down the bottom of the garden. You know what I mean?
The outhouse.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The thing is, you could be deliriously happy with 1 bathroom or 12.
No.
Nobody can be deliriously happy with 1, maybe 2.
No, I'd be deliriously
happy
sad.
with 2 bathrooms.
Well, why don't you ask some of the people that live in South Sudan?
Hang on.
Why don't you ask some of the people who live in South Sudan?
Well, I don't live in South Sudan.
Whether they be, you live in South Surrey. Whether they be deliriously happy with 1
Lisa,
bathroom, I think you'd find they would.
Can I tell you this? After all my years of effort and strife and toil,
you still can't get laid.
If the some lot of my life now involved living in some hovel with 1 bathroom, I think I'd go and throw myself in the river or something.
Well, you do live in a hovel.
I don't live in a hovel at all.
And the thing is I don't think that you necessarily have to think about it as if I have this thing, I have to give up this other thing.
Yes.
If you have a life that you like already, if you do fall in love, and it doesn't sound like you're interested in that, but if you did decide that you wanted to meet someone and share your life with them, you want to find someone that adds to your life who doesn't take away.
Yes, I agree.
On every level.
Yes.
He's not very good at maths.
I agree with that.
He's not very good at maths. We'll leave that one there. Lisa, have a fantastic Christmas.
Yes.
And hope Santa brings you everything you're looking for.
And great to have you on the show, Lisa. Thank you very much.
I'll continue to try and...
you too. All right, thanks, guys. Okay, bye-bye.
I'll continue to try and cheer Porky up as the ever
Lisa
present.
got off the phone pretty damn quick then.
She's probably embarrassed.
You upset her.
She's embarrassed.
You upset
Have
her.
you seen the time, by the way?
See the time? Yeah. Don't worry about the time.
I've got some news for you coming up.
There's important things to talk about.
I've got a story to tell you about some married MPs. We're going to be talking to Scandal coming up.
This festive season, don't just go big on the tree. Go big on style and space too, with the stunning new Mini Clubman, equipped with seating for 5 and enough luggage room to pack in all the trimmings. However big you go this year. Book a test drive at your nearest Mini Centre or mini.co.uk/clubman. Test drive is subject to status and availability.
I know. The state pension is changing.
I know. How much you get will still depend on your national insurance record. And don't forget you may still have a private pension to consider too.
I know. I'll be able to see how much I'm likely to receive and understand what I can do to improve my state pension.
I know. If you reach state pension age on or after the 6th of April 2016, you'll be part of the new scheme.
Make sure you know the facts about the new state pension. Visit gov.uk/yourstatepension for more information.
If you fancy a flutter on the football, a gamble on the golf, a double on the darts, or a treble on the tennis, you're in luck. Get closer to the action every weekend with Betway's Man in the Know on the Weekend Sports Breakfast with Georgie Bingham and Mickey Quinn. Bringing you all the form on the football, the going at Goodwood, the tries at Twickenham and the overs at the Oval. Every Saturday and Sunday morning from 7 on TalkSport. With Betway. For the latest offers, head to betway.com.
TalkSport, the radio station that's looking forward to a traditional family Christmas this year. Slamming doors, screaming kids, the silent, resentful drive to visit the in-laws.
Please turn around when possible.
Classic. Merry Christmas. TalkSport.
But maybe it's not too late.
This is TalkSport. We are the two mics. There will, of course, be winners and losers coming up a little bit later. We must catch up on some tweets, I have to say, Mr. Parry, because we've got loads of them. Here's another couple of chants. LVG can't score goals without Van Persie.
Not bad. I like that. That's very good, these.
And this one from Gerald. LVG, no one follows your philosophy.
Your philosophy.
Here's one. LVG has a worse hairdo than Fellaini.
Fellaini, I like that. Yeah.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Now, back to your reference earlier to Padre Parry.
Yes.
Woodenhead says, love it when Mike Parry sings. He has such a smooth voice, has a touch of Elvis to it. Please release a Christmas CD.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I think he might have his tongue planted in his cheek there.
I think he's confusing me with the old Pardre.
Yeah, well, maybe he was thinking about when he was singing earlier.
Oh, maybe.
Roy says, what an ungrateful old misery. He never bought a gift for old MG. How can it be such a rotten excuse for a human? That's about you basically turning down my very generous offer of a free calendar.
Oh, yeah, free calendar. Thanks very much. You found a line on the table outside with a sign saying, these calendars are for, you just take any one you want.
Frazzle says, I think the Stone of Destiny was returned to Scotland to mark the opening of the Holyrood Parliament. I think, Frazzle, you may be right there.
Yeah.
Here's one for Darren, who says, I've done 32 hours work out of 48 available. I had the last 2 days off, and tomorrow I'm listening live. I'm sorry to have missed Mike Parry's drivel.
Oh, well, you haven't missed it, have you? Because I don't talk drivel, so there's no problem there.
Jamie says, how come my tweets are ignored nowadays? I can't answer that. I don't know why.
I don't know.
Why are they ignored?
I have no idea. What sort of tweets does he send us?
I have no idea.
Are they rude or...?
I don't know.
No, OK.
I mean, I don't deliberately ignore anybody's tweets.
By the way, did you see the problem with Gaza over the weekend?
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's obviously fallen off the wagon in quite a big way, hasn't he?
I'm looking at a report here. It seems, somebody's saying, how's the battle with the booze going, Gaza? And the story reads, Paul Gascoigne downed at least 6 bottles of gin on a 5-day bender before being rushed to hospital. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry I'm laughing. I shouldn't.
You shouldn't really.
It's
pretty awful.
Oh, it's tragic.
I mean, he's obviously incapable of not drinking. He's a
you
George
say
Best
that.
figure.
You say that.
I just don't think he's capable of doing it.
I always quote the example of Jimmy Greaves, who gave up drinking, I think it's over 30 years ago now.
But not everybody can do that, is what I'm saying.
Well, it's not easy. He says, you have to take each day as it comes. Each day's tempted and each day turns it down.
It's like a 12-step programme.
Now, the reason why maybe Gaza's not trying hard enough is he does go for weeks without drinking.
Yeah.
He goes into some, rehab place or some drying out place somewhere. Feels good about it, comes out, great, and then weakens, takes another drink, and that leads to the 5-day bender with 6 bottles of gin.
But, there are many different forms of alcoholism, I suppose, because you can be just as much of an alcoholic without having to go on benders. But I think the mark of somebody who truly has a massive problem is that person who can't have one drink, and that's probably Gaza's problem. He can't have one drink. He has to go on a complete bender. He can't have one, nip out of the bottle of whiskey. He has to drink the whole bottle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm agreeing with you, but I'm trying to examine the details of this latest thing. He
was found in a pool of blood, wasn't he? Because he'd fallen over and cracked his hand on a glass or something like that.
I don't know if you saw the report, but the hospital he was taken into, they quoted a member of the staff who said, "We have never seen a man so badly affected by alcohol and still conscious." Yeah. So that does explain the 5 bottles of gin.
They said he smelled the drink when he arrived.
Yeah.
He's also
tried to
being
order more
investigated
drink.
because he's been on this tour. Do you remember he played at the same theatre we did up at the Newcastle?
That's right, he did,
Tyne Theatre.
Tyne Opera
and obviously
House.
that's going quite well.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a part of the problem, that when he was playing football, he had to handle the fame by drinking. Yeah. Maybe doing this tour is a bad idea, even though it's him and his manager that are basically doing it.
Sure.
Because he doesn't, it must be difficult for him because it's successful, he's making money again, people want to talk to him, and a lot of the stories he tells are about the drink. I mean, he's told the story apparently on stage now about how much cocaine he did before he went to find Raoul
14 lines.
Some ludicrous amount, so it becomes sort of almost out-of-body experience.
I know.
Now, a couple more LVG chants for you.
Love them.
Andrew says, LVG, he can't get a point or 3.
I quite like it.
Def says LVG, please don't go from all at Man City.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Which is not bad.
That's very good. Yeah.
Here's one from Roger who says that Porky's new Mercedes goes well with the McMansion. Hashtag snob.
The McMansion. Oh, I see the one that you think that. Oh, you put them up to that. The McMansion. That's
the McMansion is the name of one of those horrible kind of nouveau riche style homes, which has got a great big driveway, probably a little bit of a gate at the front.
Cost about £7 million.
Doesn't matter how much they cost.
Well,
no, they don't.
Of course, it does.
You know what happened in America actually during the whole subprime interest rate problem? They were basically bulldozing these places because they couldn't give them away.
No, they couldn't. No,
and it was going to be more expensive to keep the swimming pool going than it was just to bulldoze the thing.
Yeah.
How about this from James? 3 rants within 70 minutes on the 2 mics by Porky. How rude was that from Porky towards MG and the executive producer all over some biscuits?
Well, it's disgraceful that you should be even thinking of that during the middle of a show. Lack of professionalism, and I cannot stand a lack of professionalism.
It's Christmas week.
Well, you say it's Christmas week. I know about that.
Now, listen, I wanted to tell you about, we were talking to Lisa Daley there about how
lovely lady.
She says very difficult to get a partner at Christmas, which I disagree with completely, by the way, because what about these 2 MPs? Andrea Jenkins, former beauty queen, 41, and Jack Lopresti, 46, father of 3. married to the daughter of Tory peer Lucy.
Yes.
Well, I don't know Lucy who, it doesn't say, but these two have been rumbled over the weekend because just where they were having a romantic liaison in the public eye.
Go on.
Doncaster Railway Station.
Doncaster Railway Station, yeah.
I mean, I can't say...
Well-known romantic setting.
I can't say I've been to Doncaster Railway Station. There's a bench there, apparently.
Hey, but listen, guess where they went for a party?
Where?
The Toby Carvery. Seriously.
Oh, that's shocking, isn't it?
Quote it. So she took him to her party at Toby Carvery and told everybody he's my boyfriend. Yeah. So they're quite open about it now.
Well, they are now, but when they were first asked about it, they denied it, right, because he's still a father of three. Later, they were confronted after claiming to be just good friends. The Tory party now confirmed they are a couple, claiming the relationship only started in the last 3 weeks. But how about this? Mr. Lepresti, a father of three, was seen leaving his family home in Bristol carrying holdalls and a packed bin liner yesterday.
Yeah, well...
So, things are not going well for him.
It's usually bad news, isn't it?
Yeah.
The MP's made it obvious over a couple by wearing matching elf jumpers. I mean, how juvenile is all this?
Well, this is the thing, isn't
matching elf jumpers at the knees up for her constituency staff at a Toby Carvery.
Yeah.
My God.
Well,
I tell you what,
if
I went to a Toby Carvery and I saw a bunch of people...
You're always going to a Toby Carvery.
No, hang on. If I was at my Toby Carvery, I saw a bunch of people on the next table all having their knees up wearing elf-like jumpers, I'd have them thrown out.
Why?
Well, because
you can't have them thrown out. You're only there on your own.
Ridiculous behaviour.
No, you're only giving them like £7.50, and from 12 people they're getting at least £50, aren't they?
It said here they were in the car park looking a bit daft in their elf outfits. Well, I'm not surprised. They were laughing and joking, very much a couple. I think a lot of people were laughing and joking at them.
Yeah, I think so. This woman, Ms. Jenkins, it says, is from humble roots in East Yorkshire.
Is she?
Went on to blossom in a Miss United Kingdom final.
Oh, yeah.
She then went to the stage where she worked as a semi-professional soprano singer and songwriter. Yeah. This sounds like, write your own CV time, doesn't it?
It certainly does, yeah.
Oh, yes, I was a semi-professional soprano. What does that mean?
No, but hang on. She starts off by, Ibar Gum, Yorkshire lass.
There's nothing wrong with being from Yorkshire, by the way.
No, there's nothing wrong with being from Yorkshire.
You try not to write off an entire county.
No, there's nothing wrong.
It's bad enough that you've insulted, cities up and down the land.
Absolutely nothing wrong at all. You're absolutely right. But I mean, you're absolutely right. Is this the sort of spirit of Christmas Rogerisation curse? Is that what it's all about?
Well, what I'm saying is it's not a very nice time to be kicked out of your family home.
You can get carried away on New Year's Eve, can't you? With all that old lang syne balderdash and all that. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is about... I very rarely now go out on New Year's Eve.
I don't know.
For the last several years, I've worked here.
Yes.
But this New Year's Eve, because you and I are going to be doing the Hawksby and Jacobs slot...
Yes.
Actually, the night is available to me.
Well,
but I've decided even...
Only a limited number of hours, I hope.
Why?
I don't need to turn up the next day bladderated.
Why?
Well, because...
You're not until 1 o'clock.
Because I'm a professional.
Yeah, I know you're a professional.
Okay, so by your reckoning, I'm not on until 1 o'clock. That means I haven't got to get up till 11, and I can
That's not
meet up with Porky in the office at 12:30. He'll have done all the work for the show by then. Yeah. That's your usual thinking pattern.
Not at all. No, absolutely not. No, what I was about to say, if you'd let me finish, was that I will not be imbibing on New Year's Eve in terms of going to a party. I'll tell you why. Because London is a nightmare on New Year's Eve, because apart from anything else, around this area here, so if I wanted to come somehow to the West End through here, everything's all the roads are closed off. You can't get a cab anywhere. They charge you an absolute arm and a leg to go to a restaurant.
This country's going to the dogs,
They double the prices. Well, it's true.
When is somebody going to make a decision on Heathrow runway 3?
Well, they're never going to make a decision.
Well, that's got to be made. When is somebody going to scrap HS2? That's high speed, right?
Why are you moaning again?
Because that's going to cost 26 billion quid.
Well, I know
do you know
that.
what we can do with 26 billion quid?
Well, what can we do with it?
We could do a million things with it. When is somebody going to get a grip of the problems that face this country, like immigration? Where's the debate on that? What are we doing about it?
Why don't you save all this for Porky's Christmas address?
What do you mean? What?
Huh?
Christmas address?
Well, we're going to be here on Christmas Day.
Are we?
You could do like a Porky speech, like the Queen's speech.
Yeah,
we did that last year.
I'll think about it.
I know when you're getting all political.
Actually, I could. That's a good idea. I think I will do.
You hadn't thought of that.
I think I will do a sort of...
You hadn't thought of that.
I think I will do a sort of Queen's speech, Christmas address type thing.
Yeah. Here's one from Joshua. It says, LVG, face like a dog chewing a bee.
Yeah, I like that. That is very good. That's a very accurate description.
And Matt says, I've just watched Parry's Christmas Carol on the Two Mics TV. Yeah. There's no way he's not had a drink this weekend after watching that.
Excuse me, that's not me. That's Pardre. And if you want to see that, get on to Two Mics TV, please. Have a look at it. We would appreciate your views on it, OK?
Yeah.
We need your reviews.
Send them in.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes, and of course, as ever, there will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on. Now, as per usual, I mean, it's been going on for a couple of days now, but leading up to the winners and losers, you know, the sort of the tension builds.
Yes.
And these planks that I've referred to in the past, which is no slur by any means on anybody who listens to this show.
How can you call any one of our millions of listeners a plank?
Have a listen to this.
Disgraceful.
Have a listen to this from somebody who calls himself CCL.
Yes.
LVG. It's about time we had a new partner for Mike Parry.
Hey.
And he follows it with Get Lost Graham. # Team Porky. See, these are the people I'm talking about. These are the people I'm talking about who cannot, to be fair, they cannot be in any way involved in any sort of process which is democratic. They vote for you no matter what.
I engender that sort of support, you see.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah, from numpties.
No. Here, what about this one? LVG. Amsterdam's where I want to be.
That's very good. Is that yours, or did you read that one out?
No, it's mine.
Oh, that's yours. That's good.
Right. That's
okay.
right.
Bobby says, LVG, you're the second biggest numpatee.
Numpatee.
Which is very good.
Like that. Who's the biggest numpatee, then?
It says you are.
Yeah, rubbish.
It does. It says Porky's the biggest.
Don't be ridiculous.
LVG, about as animated as a Christmas tree.
Oh, yeah, I like that. That's good. Yeah.
LVG, he looks like the Muppet Ernie. How about this now? Steve in Manchester's helping you out with the Jacksons. He says, Porky, the name of that Jackson song was Show You the Way to Go.
It's it. Show You the Way to Go.
I don't know that one.
Yeah. Let me show.
Is that one of the later ones?
Let me show. No, it's one of the Jackson 5 ones.
Well, no, but remember they were the Jackson 5s and then the Jacksons.
Yeah, I think it was the Jacksons.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know. Because I knew all the earlier ones.
Show You the Way to Go. He was certainly in his later teenage years when that one came. He wasn't a kid of 8 or 9, you know. Not like ABC or anything like that.
Def says Kelly Brook dressed as a nun would probably be a top-selling calendar.
It would certainly would.
Dirty habit.
It certainly would. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
How about AM who says LVG as clueless as Mike Parry.
Oh, that's very nice, isn't it?
And then he says let the clueless one go to Everton.
Personal abuse. I'm not into that.
How about this from Lenny?
Yeah.
What's the first sign of madness?
Go on, I'm not going to answer
Suggs
that.
walking up your driveway.
Walking up. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's a joke. Yeah, okay, I quite like that.
Becky says, if Porky doesn't want the Poldark calendar, send it to me. He's cute with his clothes on or off.
Oh, really?
P.S. I don't want an Everton one.
Oh, really? Okay, well, you know, I mean, honestly, some people have such limited aspirations in life. I think we'll ban them from listening to the show.
Now, here's a good one, right, on the motorways thing that you were talking about from Rob.
Right.
It's impossible for anyone to overtake as a learner driver. Think about it. So if you can't overtake anyone, how are you going to learn how to drive on a motorway?
Well, they'd have to...
Well, so it's a stupid idea.
No, they'd have to amend the highway code.
What?
They'd have to amend the highway code.
So you want learners now overtaking you at speeds of up to 70 miles an hour?
What?
You want learners overtaking you on the motorway at speeds of up to 70 miles an hour?
Providing they're under instruction,
No.
Yes.
No, I mean, it's different if some maniac's doing a 3-point turn in a quiet street. It's different if some maniac is reversing around a corner where there are no cars. There's no problem if the co-driver can suddenly put his foot on the brake. You can't do that on a motorway.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
You say so.
And here's Shaw who says, how are people from Aberystwyth and places like that supposed to learn on a motorway?
Well,
Crazy planks.
How would anybody in Norwich learn on a motorway?
Well, if you live in Norwich, you don't need to drive on a motorway, do you? Because there aren't any.
Yeah, but one of these days you'll want to leave Norwich and
not necessarily
go to the the new world.
The new world.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And then you encounter
look, it's a motorway.
You encounter the.
I don't know why they'd be Welsh.
What's the name of the motorway that goes up to Cambridge?
M11.
The M11. You encounter the M11. Listen, I'm getting rather worried about the visit of Padre Parry earlier.
Yeah.
It says here from Brian. He says, can we replace old Porky with Padre Parry?
Well,
he's a lot funnier than the plank.
I did say that on the video, actually, when you watch it. Actually, he's clearly a very talented man, and maybe less sort of objectionable than you.
Yeah, this is a terrible one here about LVG, by the way, and I'm not sure we should read it out on the family show, but I will anyway.
Go on, then.
LVG couldn't score in a brothel if he was given it for free. That's terrible, isn't it?
Slightly too many syllables, but not bad.
No, that's terrible.
William says, MG, you should have got Porky a cycling or cat calendar. An ideal present for Porky to hang up, but not in his locked room.
Yes, well, there is no locked room, so we can pass on that one, OK?
Dwayne says, LVG, back to Holland, off go thee.
Yeah, I quite like that.
Struggle with that
that's
one,
all right. No, that's all right. That's all right. Now then, what's this?
How about this one from Rob, who managed to actually figure out what I was asking you earlier?
Right.
He says, Porky, how can you remember something you've forgotten? # Porky Paradox.
Well, that's the art, you see, of knowing what to forget and what not to forget. Seriously, that's what it is.
Uh-huh.
OK?
Becky's got one. LVG, about as useless as AVB.
Yeah, well, that's a nice way to insult two leading managers in one go. Well done. Right, it says here, I'm not sure who this is directed to, but it's from our friend Liz, and she says, "You sarcastic, brrr, but I love you."
She's got a bit of a love-hate thing going on with you, isn't she?
Well, I'm not sure it's...
Some weeks she doesn't like you.
It might be directed at me, you, the two Mikes, the two of us, or the Woodenhead guy. You know?
The Woodenhead guy?
Yeah.
What do you mean, Woodenhead?
Oh, no, here, I think it is it's aimed at me. It says, Mike Parry implying that I'm not good enough for him, and that's very sad. Crying into my hanky. Cheers, boys. I've never said that. Liz,
You did. You basically said that you didn't think there was any woman out there who could somehow befit your high expectations.
Yes, but that was a very general comment involving
millions of women. Win millions of women.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
You have.
Oh, dear.
Here's one from Abdul. He says, I go with MG's predictions. The man can see far into the future. Porky needs to respect MG. He could predict his future if he wants.
Oh, really?
By the way, you've dropped down one place. You're now 22nd in the presenters' table.
Well, that's not bad.
Selco. Well, it's only two from them. There's only two below that.
No, there's hundreds of presenters.
There's only 20. No, there's 24 in the league.
Don't get it wrong. Now,
you're now actually technically in relegation territory.
Now, I'll tell you what we're going to talk about, man. We're going to talk about with Christmas looming, right? Christmas looming. I wanted to talk to you about...
Have you got all your presents then, have you? I mean, obviously you said you're not buying me one, but have you got everything else?
I walked through, at the weekend, Gunwharf Quays.
Oh, yeah.
And
I had some more shoes.
No, I didn't actually, no. I attracted...
Have they got a Ralph Lauren down
there? Yes, I believe they have.
Would you
Is
get
that polo? Is that polo shirts? Yes, I have, yes.
Would you get me a shirt?
No.
Why not?
Well, but I want to buy you a shirt.
Because I don't get to a Ralph Lauren shop very often, so...
Well, you should live in a better area then, shouldn't you?
Well, it's a discount shop, isn't it?
No, it's a Ralph Lauren shop.
Yeah, but you told me it's like a, what do you call those places?
I don't know.
It's a like factory outlet type place.
No.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
You told me it is.
Some of the shops there on one side of that development.
Well, because there's one in Ashford, right?
Yes.
But I don't really. It's too far for me to go, so I don't go very often.
Listen, mate, if you live
But I got a great shirt from there, and it's now it's too old now. I need to replace it.
The problem I've got with those
that
polo
pink and white
shirts,
striped shirt.
Yes, I know. Yeah, but the problem I've got.
It's not a short sleeve shirt. I'm talking about a proper dress shirt.
Yeah, I know. The problem with those polo shirts is
they don't have them in your size.
No, they don't have a breast pocket.
No,
and
some of them do.
In this day and age, no, none of them do. No polo shirts have a breast pocket.
Well, why do you need a breast pocket?
Because this is where you put your mobile phone.
No, you shouldn't put it in there. No.
Well, what about in the summer?
No.
In the summer, you've got to have somewhere to put it.
Well, you put it in your back pocket.
No.
Because if you put it in that pocket, I'll tell you, I can tell you from experience, if you lean over at some point somewhere, then you're going to drop it on the floor.
I never do that.
You never bend over.
Yes, of course I do, but I never ever. I'm always aware.
It falls out of there.
No, I'm always aware of my my phone and where it is. I always put my hand up to my phone to protect it. Don't worry about that.
I'm not worried about it.
Whenever I put my coat on before I go out of the house, I do the patting job.
Yeah.
Right pat for wallet.
Yeah.
Left pat for phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right pat in trouser pocket for dosh.
Yeah, the £500.
Cash. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And left pat for credit cards to make sure that I'm fully equipped for the world. Okay.
So how do you do that when you haven't got a coat?
Hey.
When you're in the summer, you're talking about.
Yes.
So you said you only got a shirt on. So where do you put all that stuff?
I transfer right pat and left pat of right breast and left breast to right buttock, left buttock, rear pockets in shorts.
So you've got on the right buttock pocket, you've got what? Your credit cards?
Your credit cards, yes.
Right. And your left pocket, you've got the cash.
I've got the cash, that's right.
Right, so somebody could take both of those off you without even having to confront you.
Well, they'd have to address my posterior if they did, and I would...
Have you never seen these guys with the razor blades? They just slash your pocket.
No, because...
They just slash your pocket.
No. The shorts I buy... The rear pockets have a flap with a button, which I always
makes
fasten.
no difference if they slash it.
No.
They take it out from the bottom.
I'm too smart.
They take it out from the bottom.
I'm too smart,
as it were.
Too smart.
What an idiot!
No.
So hang on.
I've never had anything nicked or hey, listen.
Well, that's because up until now we haven't described on national radio where you keep all your money.
No. Oh, you think people are now going to follow me out the building and with a knife and say, "I tell you what, here's a Stanley knife. Let's slash his shorts off and get all his dosh." I don't think so.
All right. Here's one from Jordan. LVG, ruined Christmas already. That's good.
Yeah, quite like that.
These are great, these.
Quite like that. Yeah.
Anyway, we've got lots more coming up. Winners and losers not very far away. We'll have to discuss the rules of engagement for that.
Yep.
This is Talk Sport.
Ever had to make the call?
Hi, can you call me back? My credit's running out.
With Talk Mobile's happy hour plan on Pay As You Go, the pressure's off. Because when you make a call, it costs just 10 pence, and the rest of the hour is totally free. A 1 hour call for the price of 2 plastic bags. And the best thing is, every hour is happy hour. Calls to standard UK mobiles and landlines, 8 pence per minute after the first hour. Terms apply. See talkmobile.co.uk.
It's only one drive to work, on one busy morning, one line of traffic, one meeting to make, one gap, one chance to go a bit faster. It's just one pedestrian, crossing at one curbside. It's one ambulance, one police report, one public court case, one shattered family. That one time you drove too fast. One risk is one too many. Think.
Transport for London. Every journey matters.
Make sure you're ahead of the game and listen to Kick-Off on Talk Sport with 888 Sport. Bet you can. Tonight from 7, get in-depth analysis, heavyweight pundit opinion and outspoken fan reaction on the nation's most passionate pre-match football forum.
You won't miss a trick, flick or kick of any of the action.
Plus, hear the latest form and odds ahead of all the matches that matter from 888 Sport's On The Ball Bet Spurt. Kick-Off. Weeknights from 7 on Talk Sport with 888 Sport. Bet you can.
Talk Sport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The enduring home of football.
It's modern radio, only better.
Verses coming. We've still got a couple more here. Here's one from David. LVG. You talk like a demented hippie. Which is good.
That's not bad.
And John, who's an Everton fan, he says, please read this out as I never get a mention. LVG, he's just been stuffed by a canary.
Oh, blimey. I quite like that. Yeah. That's a very nice one. Now, listen, that song there, Money and all that.
Yeah.
Do you know, I went through today without any cash in my pocket. I mean, basically...
so that's not that surprising, is it?
No. Honestly, it's interesting. You see, yesterday, I remember I had, the remnants of sort of 200 quid. And it was in my right trouser pocket. I was there putting a new pair of trousers on.
Yeah.
And, of course, I rushed out.
You forgot to transfer the money.
Forgot to transfer the money.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when you're rushing around and you've got to get the train and all this kind of... And you go, I've got
And also,
time.
those are always the days when you find the cash machine is out of order.
It's either out of order or there's a queue so long and you simply haven't got time to wait. So I eventually got to the rendezvous where I was going. It was actually a sports bar and grill in Canary Wharf. With no money.
Well, there's loads of machines in Canary Wharf.
Well, yeah, but you know the problem we had finding the sports bar and grill and wandering around.
Yeah, but now we found it.
I found it at Crossrail. So anyway, that's not a problem. So then, you know, obviously we spent a bit of time there. We did a couple of programmes in there. And then I had to move on and go and do things and buy things and all that. And I suddenly discovered something I'd been aware of but wasn't fully conversant with, and it's called the contactless credit card.
Have you not got one of those?
Well, I didn't know I had until today.
Yeah, it's got the little symbol on it.
Yeah. So I said...
welcome to 2015.
Yeah, I said to this woman, I gave her my card, you know, I was purchasing something. She said, well, just touch
What, you mean in the bar?
It was in the bar, actually, yeah it was.
Oh, you were probably buying a drink then?
Yeah, I was,
Except you didn't have a drink this weekend, you said.
No, not for me. I was buying it for somebody else. And I said, you know, she's doing... Anyway, I then had to go on and purchase other things, like in WH Smith's and places like that.
Yeah.
And I said, can I use... She said, yeah, just touch that. So it's touched. Right, now then, all that is very well until I get home and start reading my financial journals to find out that actually fraud amongst contactless credit cards is predicted to go through the roof because...
Well, because if you drop it and somebody picks it up...
You can use it without a PIN.
You just use it, yeah.
Use it without a PIN.
Yeah.
And if you use it without a PIN, apparently you can use up to 30...
No, but there is no PIN.
No, what I'm saying is, for some bizarre reason, you can use it up to £35 in one establishment.
30.
In one establishment, it's going up to 50.
No, it's
going up to 50. It's going up to 50 in one establishment, and then you can move on to another establishment and use it for 50 quid.
I don't think it's in one establishment. I think you can. It's just one purchase, isn't
it?
I think you can use it more than once.
No, you can't. No, one place will only.
No, but it's per transaction. So, like, if you're, say, in a pub all night,
yes,
and your first round is 18 quid,
that's right.
It doesn't mean you've only got two left.
No, I think it does,
No, it
honestly.
doesn't. No, it means you can go back and get another round for 18 quid. And you get another round for 18 quid.
Let me read
until
my...
such time as I refuse to serve you on the grounds of bladderation.
Let me read my journal. It says, new wave of contactless payment cards is being exploited by thieves who can use them for days, even after they've been reported stolen.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
The tap-and-go cards are proving hugely popular on the high street this Christmas, and consumers expected to rack up £1 billion on them.
Right.
£1 billion in December alone.
Yeah.
But, unlike conventional plastic cards, purchases are approved automatically without any online authorisation by the bank. It means payments may not appear on customer accounts until sometime after a card has been reported stolen.
Yeah.
So these look as though they're very unsafe.
You see, on the face of it, it's a fantastic sort of addition to the different forms of paying. But only in a perfect world, because unfortunately we don't live in a perfect world.
Yeah.
And so, yes, if you do drop it or you do lose it, it just means you have to be much more careful about losing cards, you know?
No, that's right, yeah.
But I mean, you can definitely spend more than one load of 20 quid or whatever. They're putting up to 30 shortly, I believe. And, as long as various, retail outlets honour it, that's fine. But no, you can spend, there's no limit on what you can spend. It's just on individual transactions. So you couldn't buy, for example, a television for 200 quid.
Right.
But you could buy, a whole series of things that cost, 15 quid from the same shop.
I had a feeling, some girl told me today, she said, oh no, it's to a maximum of £30.
Yeah. But
she said, no, she said in here.
No, I don't think. Well, that may be their own rule.
Yeah, seriously, because she also told me, she told me that students use them.
Yeah.
And when it's a student night, as shots are £1.
Yeah.
What drives the bar staff mad is that these kids just keep going bang, 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 pound, 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 and it wastes so much blinking time because they then overload.
It's instantaneous, though.
No, they overload the machine, apparently.
Well, that's instantaneous.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I had an interesting encounter this weekend, actually, and I was quite impressed with the old anti-fraud police because I was using my Amex card to buy my sister a present, and I basically just rang up her local liquor store in her town where they know her very well, as you can imagine.
Told them to send a case round.
And told them to send a case round, So I gave them my credit card number, and they know me as well because I'm there, whenever I'm over there.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're really sorry, it's not working. And I'm like, I just used it half an hour ago to do something else. And do you know what? I got a text message and an email from American Express asking me if I'd tried to buy something in that shop.
Right, yeah, well,
Isn't that great?
That's good.
And as soon as I answered yes, then they said, fine, try it again, it'll work.
Well, I tell you what I used to...
I think that's great.
I think that's great. Tell you what I used to have. I used to have an American-based American Express and an English-based American Express.
Right.
And
on the same account or different accounts?
Oh, different account. They're two different cards.
Okay.
Two completely different cards.
Yeah.
And if I was in the States for like 8 months or something, and then came back to England and tried to use the English one, it wouldn't work until... exactly what you've just said. You got a message saying, have you relocated to the United Kingdom and are you trying, or has it been stolen?
I mean, one of the things that they say you should do, and I've had this before when I've gone on holiday, is you're meant to ring them up and tell them where you're going to be. Yeah. But I mean, who's got the time for that?
Well, and anyway, how do you know the message will ever get through to the right person? All that kind of stuff.
Once when I was working for the News of the World in America, I've probably told you this story years ago, during the whole scandal of Princess Michael of Kent.
Yes.
When she was discovered to have been Rogerising with a
allegedly.
Texan. I don't think there's anything alleged about it.
No, there's nothing alleged about it. It's true.
The guy called Ward Hunt, who was a member of the Texan billionaire oil family.
Yeah,
right?
She liked billionaires.
She certainly did.
Probably still does.
I got a call from them to pick this guy up because they'd been discovered.
Yes.
And he'd done a runner, basically. Because they had pictures of him going in and out of the house, and she was coming in and out of the house and all that.
Yes.
He'd done a runner to Manchester Airport, got a plane to New York.
Right.
They said to me, can you pick him up in New York and get on a plane with him to go to Dallas?
Yes.
So I said, absolutely fine. And I'd just been to London, funnily enough, where I'd lost, I think, one of my Amex cards.
Yes.
So they'd issued me with a new one. So I had 2 Amex cards, but on the same account.
Right.
And I went up to the American Airlines desk and I had to get a first-class ticket, of course, which I'd already had booked in by my friendly travel agent. And I went to pay for it. And it was at a time when I guess things were not going as well as it could be, because a lot of people owed me money, because it was like, well, you don't know what it's like as a freelance, sometimes you get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, hand the guy the card, and he very gleefully, this guy with the American Airlines, wings and everything, takes out the biggest pair of scissors you've ever seen and cuts the card in half.
In front of you?
And I said, what are you doing? And he's like, because apparently they get a bonus for doing this, right? If you've got a credit card that they're saying is over limit or whatever, the people who cut it up get paid. They actually get a cash sum.
Disgraceful.
Right? I said, what the hell are you doing? He said, I've been instructed by American Express to cut this card in half. And I went, well, you can't do that. That's my card.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I've just done it. He said, do you have another card? And I said, yeah, I do, actually. I was quite smug because I thought this would be a different account. So I handed him the second one, and he cut that up as well.
No. So how did you pay for your airfare?
Well, I had to ring London and say, look, I'm terribly sorry. There's been some mess up with my credit card. Can you just pay for it from Central Funds in London, which they did.
They did, yeah. Well, that's just as well, isn't it? But that guy deserved a punch in the mouth.
What a horrible man.
Yeah, disgraceful individual.
There's nothing illegal about what I did.
No,
It was just over the limit.
Now, listen.
How about this from Ian?
Yeah.
LVG, someone chuck him in the Irish Sea.
I like that. I mean, we mustn't...
Well, obviously, no.
No violence. This is a family show, but I do like a little ditty. Listen.
Yeah.
I haven't put this to you yet, have I?
I don't know. Until you put it to me, I might be able to tell you.
What appeared on television on this day, December 22, 1963, for the first time? Well, I'll tell you, because obviously you can guess it. It was the Daleks.
The Daleks?
The Daleks.
You mean the Daleks?
The Daleks.
Not the Daleks.
No, you know what I'm talking about. Doctor Who's Daleks.
The Daleks.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. The arch enemies of the Doctor, introduced in the show's first series between episodes 5 and 12, which involved the first Doctor, who was William Hartnell. He was the guy who looked about 107.
I remember that, yeah. I remember.
Yeah. And his companions, they were captured by the robotic creatures after landing in an alien jungle.
But the Master didn't appear until later, did he?
Oh, I didn't know there was a Master, was there?
What do you mean didn't know? The Master.
What do you mean the Master?
The Master, the guy who made the Daleks. Or the Daleks, as you call them.
The Daleks were withered like humans who were only left with a brain, so they built themselves these metal cabinets to get into.
No, that was the Master. He was half man, half Dalek.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
How can he be half man, half Dalek?
Because that was the whole point of it.
Oh, was it?
He was their kind of, founding father.
Oh, so you lifted the lid on the Master and there was a brain in there, was there?
No, he was half a man. He was half body.
What, hiding inside this little robotic thing? Oh, I didn't know that. I thought they were all, machines. Anyway, the Daleks quickly became the programme's most popular monsters. Their battle cry of...
Exterminate.
No, do it properly.
What?
Exterminate. Exterminate.
I can't do it like that.
That's great, that. We've got I didn't know we had that. Let's have that again, please. Exterminate. There you go, see?
Yeah. Some people were terrified of those.
Yeah, it was much closer to mine. Exterminate. Exterminate.
Sounded like Phil Finn when you said that.
Phil Finn? Yeah, he's dead.
I know he is.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah, quite.
Stuttering out in many subsequent stories, and in 2008, a National Trust survey found that 9 out of 10 British children could identify a Dalek, compared with 1 in 3 who didn't know what a magpie looked like. How about that?
Well, I don't find that surprising. Yeah. There's a lot more magpies around there are Daleks, though. But do you know why the Daleks were not scary to me?
Why?
In the early days? Because they couldn't climb stairs.
That would be ridiculous.
They couldn't climb stairs. But now, right, in the new sort of formation of Doctor Who, they can fly.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So they're much more scary.
Oh, can they?
But they couldn't climb stairs, so I was never worried, because I lived in a flat.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Up about 8 flights of stairs. So I thought, well, there's no chance they're coming up here.
Yeah, that's a pretty good theory.
The time,
incidentally, just very quickly, I mean, poor old Finn, an old colleague of ours, obviously died, and rest in peace, and respects to him, that kind of stuff. But did you ever get a reply from his widow?
No.
Because I sent her a lovely long note saying how much,
No, I didn't
I enjoyed working with Phil all those years and all. I didn't. I just
she didn't like you.
What?
She didn't really like you.
What do you mean she didn't like
She didn't like you.
Of course she liked me.
No,
I worked in the same bureau as her husband.
Like you.
They were a poisonous lot, those... those wives. So
I don't think you should say anything else.
Well, I mean, they all really got stuck into each other, behind each other's back, didn't they?
Yeah.
All going around telling everybody else how dreadful the others were, and every time... I
don't think you should be saying all this.
Every time one of them got a house up country, they used to say how good their house was, and how rotten crap the other houses were, and all this kind of stuff. It was terrible.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's enough of that.
It is, yeah.
Let's do winners and losers
instead.
Yes. Coming next.
Yes.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
A terrific performance.
Turn of pace and eye for goal.
Shout about it.
Talk Sport.
And now it's time for the winners and losers. Talk Sport. Of course, it is that time of the week for winners and losers. As we said, it's 13-5 to Paul. He's won the last two, so he's on a bit of a comeback trail.
Yes.
Now, we haven't discussed, have we, the rules of engagement on this one. Would you like to go first with the winners or first with the losers? Where would you like your name put on the voting procedure?
Well...
We have to do this every time.
I think I'll go first on the losers, so you can go first on the winners.
OK, then. That sounds fine. Well, in which case, let's hear your three losers of the weekend.
You want the losers, OK?
Yes.
Right, my first one, Pep Guardiola.
Pep Guardiola's a loser.
He's a loser because you can't say halfway through a season, right, I've decided I'm quitting at the end of the season. That is total losing because the players now have decided... Well, he's not the boss anymore. Why do I need to impress him?
OK.
Why am I coming out every game and breaking every sinew for a man who now cares so little for the club? He's leaving it at the end of the season.
OK.
And what's more...
I don't think anyone's going to buy that, by the way.
Well, and what's more...
Pep Guardiola, as you said earlier, is on $14 million a year.
Yeah.
And he's now being the subject of a tug-of-war between Chelsea, Manchester United and Manchester City.
He was taken on by Bayern Munich...
You make him a loser.
...to win them the Champions League, and he didn't win it. So he is a loser, and he's now quitting a club in which he did not fulfil his potential. That, I'm afraid, for the first time in his life, makes him a loser.
Interesting definition.
The second loser are the River Plate fans in Tokyo who tried to abuse...
the World Club Championship.
World Club Championship, who tried to abuse Lionel Messi, their countryman, fellow Argentinian, right, because they didn't like him being on the winning side. Messi scored in the 7th competition this season that he's played in.
Right.
One of the all-time winners in football.
Yeah.
And several River Plate fans.
It's an awfully long way away, that.
Hang on, what?
It's an awfully long way away.
What?
The winners and losers.
No, it's not.
Japan, the World Club Championship.
Hang on, I'm talking about these River Plate fans who spat on Lionel Messi.
It's a very long way
They're
away.
Ultimate loser. I don't care where it is.
No.
We've had losers and winners in Australia. Never mind Tokyo.
Right,
so
down.
they are absolute losers. And the third loser, and I'm afraid this has been building for some years now, but it's finally got me. The third loser is Noddy Holder.
Noddy Holder?
If I ever...
What, the guy who's going to make about £500,000 at Christmas as a result of his song being played over and over again?
If I ever hear, so here we are, Merry Christmas, everybody's having fun, one more time, I'm going to kick in the jukebox I hear it coming out of.
Always with violence.
Or the tannoy I hear it coming out of in a shopping centre, or the speaker I hear it coming out of in a public bar. I've had it with that. Noddy Holder, loser. Don't want your record anymore. Been listening to it for 30 years.
I think you'll find he's a national treasure.
Been listening to it for 30 years, fed up to the back teeth. No. Millions will agree with me.
I think you'll realise you've got that one horribly wrong.
There are my three losers, and I commend them to our audience of millions.
Really? OK. Yeah. Right. Well, I don't think those will be too hard to beat.
No, they will.
My first loser of the weekend is obviously the Chelsea players, because Chelsea players suddenly came out, were booed by their own fans. These
are the Chelsea players who won.
These are the Chelsea players who managed to win a game.
Who won.
Despite the fact that they've lost many games with exactly the same team, with exactly the same formation, with exactly the same supposed physical qualities and talent. And I think for them, as I said earlier, to down tools, regardless of whether it's Jose Mourinho, I don't care whether it was Mourinho or any other manager, but for them to down tools shows to me a complete and utter lack of professionalism, a complete and utter lack of respect, a shocking disregard for the fans, and I just think that they are probably the biggest losers, perhaps of the entire year, for behaving quite so badly.
Ludicrous.
My second loser of the weekend is Ariadna Gutierrez Arivalo. Any idea who that is?
No, and neither has the millions of our listeners.
No, I think you'll find that they do, because this has been a massive subject on Twitter all day over the course of the last 24 hours. She is, of course, Miss Colombia, who was taking part in the Miss Universe competition this weekend, which used to be run by Donald Trump, but is now sold off and run by a different company. Donald Trump, of course, was dropped from the TV network because of things that he had said in the purposes of his presidential campaign. The problem for Miss Colombia, right, is that she was wrongly crowned the queen of the Miss Universe contest, right? There was a guy called Steve Harvey, who's the co-host of the show, who at the end of the show, when all the votes had come in, they were down to the last three, and he pronounced, OK, folks, he says, the winner is Miss Colombia. And not only did they, give her all the congratulations, they actually gave her the crown to wear and the sash and everything, right? A couple of minutes go by, all of this fantastic, heralding of the new beauty and all that. Turns out that he got it wrong. And he had to go back on the stage, and he's like, OK, folks, he says, terribly sorry, I have to apologise what I meant to say is the first runner-up is Miss Columbia.
Yes.
So Miss Columbia then had to go through the rather embarrassing procedure of taking the crown off, taking the sash off, and handing it to the woman who supposedly won, who is Miss Philippines, Pia Alonso Wurtzbach.
Yes, but I would say...
Isn't that terrible?
Well, I would say, to be perfectly honest, the poor girl was humiliated. It wasn't her fault. I feel nothing but sorry for her. The real loser...
No, she was the loser.
The real loser in that situation was that idiot judge who read out the wrong card. So I'm sorry. Once again, you've got that terribly wrong.
No, I don't think so. And my final loser of the weekend is a man who has been in the unpopularity stakes before, and he has won James McLean from West Bromwich Albion. Now, I don't know whether you saw the red card.
I saw that.
The tackle that he did, not only the tackle, but the preempted thought that went into the tackle after he thought that he had been somehow, abused by the same player. Shocking tackle, as the guy himself said. If I'd left my leg there, he could have broken it. Yeah. We were then shown, as I watched on Match of the Day, a previous tackle from another game
he got a yellow
where
card.
he did exactly the same thing. Now, we know this guy is a numpty.
Yes.
He refuses to sing the national anthem because he's from Ireland. Fair enough. He refuses to wear a poppy on his shirt. Not fair enough. He refuses to sing or stand whenever there's a national anthem played when he goes to play for his team in America. Yes. I think the sooner this guy gets kicked out of the Premier League, the better. And that's my 3 losers of the week.
The third one was, not a bad choice. The other two, I'm afraid,
well,
don't fit.
Luckily, it's not your choice. Those are my 3 losers. Let's have the winners, please.
A song. That's Hot Chocolate.
Yeah, I know who it is.
Yeah. What was the name of the guy, the lead singer with the bald head?
Errol Brown.
Yeah.
He died just recently, actually.
He died, yeah.
Now, I did avoid having Merseyside football as one of the losers this weekend because I thought you might take that a bit personally. Yeah. But my winner this week in the football front has to be Harry Kane. Harry Kane, who for many people is the next sort of big answer for the England front line. He scores another great goal for Tottenham, right? Propelling them into 4th place.
Yes.
You might say at the expense of Manchester United, who were pretty hopeless. But I think Harry Kane is proving himself to be more than capable of scoring as many goals as he scored last year. I wonder why you're yawning. I think he's a big winner this weekend. Spurs now in the top 4, and there's no reason why they shouldn't stay there.
He's been a bigger winner in other weekends.
Well, no, but if he's got them into the top 4 this very weekend, and because of his goals, they stay there and they get into the Champions League, which they haven't been able to do since Harry Redknapp left. I think that'll be tremendous.
Football's a team game. Yeah, go on.
Yes, it is. But I chose Harry Kane rather than Spurs because he is their kind of catalyst. He is their, man with a torch. Claudio Ranieri, I'm going to put up as the next winner.
Well, that's
Claudio Ranieri
obvious,
is a man who even now still gets... It's not obvious at all. I've been saying Claudio Ranieri is a great manager. I've been saying Leicester under him will be a better team than they were under Nigel Pearson. You and many other people poo-pooed it.
No,
we've still got Steve Nicol saying... yes, you did. Steve Nicol saying, they'll get top 10, they won't stay in the top 4. I reckon, that they could actually stay where they are. Don't forget, it is now Christmas, and they're now 2 points ahead.
Okay.
Now, I know there'll be loads of statisticians who'll say, it's not always the case that whoever's leading at Christmas by 2 points wins the league. But I think they won't be far off.
Okay.
And my final winner of the weekend is a man by the name of Nick Malcolm.
Nick Malcolm. Nobody's ever heard of Nick Malcolm.
You've never heard of Nick Malcolm?
No.
Nick Malcolm is a Kiwi. He's a surf life-saving representative, right? Because he patrols the coast down at the Mermaid Beach on the Australian Gold Coast. Yeah. And he was forced to go in and save a young 10-year-old boy who was swimming and was in trouble.
Right.
And he managed to save him. He managed to bring him back in, so no harm was done to the 10-year-old boy.
Is that all?
Do you know who the 10-year-old boy was?
No.
He was a Danish prince.
Really?
In line for the Danish throne.
What an obscure story.
Not obscure at all.
It's obscure.
It's a winner for him because not only, obviously, did he do a great thing by saving a young boy's life.
Hang on, lifeguard.
But he saved a boy who is well able to repay him in many, many ways in the coming years.
So lifeguard, who is paid to rescue people from water, actually does his job, goes in and saves kid from water.
Yeah, but it's a bit like saying, man who goes fishing suddenly catches fish that has, incredible, bucket loads of money inside.
But the Danes don't really have a royal family.
Yes, they do.
No,
Princess Mary and Crown Prince Frederick are the king and queen of Denmark, right? And Prince Christian is the oldest son.
Okay. And when did you last line the streets of London in awe, watching the passing parade of the Queen and the King and Queen of Denmark?
I don't line the streets for any king or queen.
Denmark doesn't have a royal family.
Yeah, it does.
They're just titular titles.
No, they are.
No, they don't have a royal
family.
No, they don't. That's rubbish. That's the worst one I've ever heard you put forward.
Well, I think those are pretty good.
Rubbish.
I think those are 3 pretty good winners.
Right.
And I'd like you to see
my winners will blow you out the water, OK?
Well, that'll be
no, well, I'm telling you. My first winner is, and it's posthumous because of the man's talent, Jimmy Hill. Jimmy Hill was tops at everything.
That is pathetic.
No, it's not.
That is pathetic.
No, it's not.
So he's dead and he's a winner.
That
is the most pathetic. That's worse than Carlisle.
No, it's not.
You will stoop so low.
No.
That is appalling.
No. This man did so much.
You are trying now to tug the heartstrings of the populace as ever. You're cynical to the point of disgrace.
No, this man did so much for the game of football, and it's so sad to hear he's died.
I'm disgusted.
He's the only person I would ever posthumously nominate as a winner in winners and losers.
That's not true. You posthumously nominated other people as well. You will do anything to win.
He got rid of the minimum wage. He invented the all-seater stadium.
Thing, wasn't it? Now
he became the top sports broadcaster.
He got rid of the minimum wage, and now look what's happened.
Yeah. Well, that was the free market.
It was actually a maximum wage you got rid of, not a minimum wage.
Yeah, the maximum wage. And you still think they should be paid £100 a week, do you?
No, I don't. But I think by getting rid of the maximum wage, people are now calling for it to be put back on.
No.
Yes, they are.
Well, at a much higher rate than Jimmy Hill got rid of. So that's one. Jimmy Hill was outstanding in everything he did. He is a real far-seeing man.
You are
the
unbelievable.
Second,
absolutely incredible.
No. Jimmy Hill was brilliant in everything he did. Leading sports journalist, a broadcaster, and by the way, when Raquel Welch was in town, she accepted an invitation. Raquel Welch. Yeah. She accepted an invitation to go and watch a Chelsea game with Jimmy Hill.
I've interviewed her.
She's a lovely woman.
Have you seen that picture of her in a Chelsea strip?
I'm not sure I have.
A very iconic picture of her.
Very iconic picture indeed. Anyway, so
that is really. I'm just gobsmacked by that.
Ryan Giggs, because
Ryan Giggs is a winner.
In the midst...
Man United lost at the weekend.
Yes, I know. And in the midst...
And because he was in charge, that's down to him, isn't it?
And in the midst of the furore and the misery and the unknowingness surrounding Old Trafford, he leapt out of his seat in the dugout, which we've said is 3 or 4 rows back at Old Trafford, ran down to the technical area...
Running.
Yes, got onto the touchline and started animating and trying to animate the Manchester United players. The sign of a real winner.
Animating is not a verb.
The sign of a real winner, particularly as he's won 13 league titles himself.
The sign
and
of a
2
real
European
winner.
Cups.
What, to lose is the sign of a real winner?
No, he decided he had to start motivating. That is the sign of a winner.
Yeah, but he didn't do it, did he?
He did.
How did he motivate them? They lost 2-1 to Norwich.
Because his boss, LVG, Louis van Gaal, sat prostate and inert on a seat next to him. He wouldn't move, but Ryan Giggs did. Yes.
Do you mean prostrate?
Prostrate, exactly what I said.
Well, doesn't that mean flat out?
No, prostrate means just not moving. Just not moving.
No, it doesn't.
Inert. Anyway, listen.
No, it doesn't. You've got the wrong word.
And my third winner, and I've mentioned an aspect of this in my losers, is, in fact, Lionel Messi himself, to have scored in the 7th
So you've got a winner and a loser from the same game.
From the same incident. Lionel Messi has scored in the 7th different competition in which he's played this season. Unheralded.
I thought you said it was a team game.
Unheralded.
You said it was a team game.
In the pantheon.
You said it was a team game.
In the pantheon.
Why are you suddenly so interested in the
world's greatest
Why are you
players?
suddenly so interested in the World Club Championship?
It's the top game between clubs in the world. Therefore, it merits a mention.
Have Everton ever played in it?
At least once. No, we haven't played in it yet. No.
What do you mean yet?
Not yet.
When do you expect to
play
play
it? So I commend those 3 winners to the millions of listeners. I've also commended already my losers. I have to say, in all honesty, folks out there, I think mine were a real ratchet or 2 above what MG had to offer tonight. And I ask you, vote Porky, vote often.
Well, I have to say that we've just put the voting process up now.
Excellent.
So all you're going to do is go... Well, I will pin it, actually, to the very top of the 2 mics...
I thought the Christmas Carol was pinned to the top of your...
Yeah, well, it's now been usurped because the Christmas Carol's been there for a while. When we vote, there's 2 votes so far, 100% to me, 0 to you.
What, 2 votes?
Yeah.
2-0?
2-0.
Yes, honestly,
well,
God.
I'm just giving you an update.
Straws.
I'm just giving you an update.
Crumbs on the table for you.
This is Talk Sport. Will Porky manage a hat-trick? Could be interesting. This is TalkSport.
Oh, what did I do last night?
By the powers vested in me by the Wed You Quick Chapel, Barry Island, I now pronounce you man and wife.
Oh, all right, lover. Oh, I'd give it 10 minutes if I were you.
Oh, no.
Everybody makes mistakes, but if you've been convicted of a driving offence or have been banned from driving, at MCE Insurance, we don't judge. For car, van or motorcycle insurance, visit mceinsurance.com today and put your past behind you. MCE Insurance, title sponsor of the MCE British Superbikes.
driving experiences at Mercedes-Benz World are the perfect Christmas gift. From under 17s driving to 4x4 and high-performance AMG experiences on our handling circuits, there's something for everyone. Prices start at just £45. Call 0370 400 4000 or visit mercedes-benzworld.co.uk to buy yours today. Mercedes-Benz World at Brooklands, just off Junction 10 on the M25.
Download the TalkSport app now. Visit TalkSport.com/apps or your provider's app store to download today.
Way too easy.
And make sure you don't miss a thing.
It's happy days this festive season at the Etihad Stadium because tickets for every single one of Manchester City's remaining home Premier League matches are now on sale. But don't hang around. This exclusive offer closes on Sunday 3rd of January, so plan ahead and guarantee your seat for the title run-in. To buy your tickets now, go to mcfc.co.uk/happy days.
Christmas 2015 on Talk Sport. We don't want a repeat of last year when Mickey Quinn got a caution from the boss for making an anatomically correct snowman in the shape of Darren Goff.
They can only get baby carrots, apparently.
Merry Christmas from Talk Sport.
Tweets have come in on the subject of your interruptions of me, my interruptions of you. Okay. It's a bit 50-50. Zach from Plymouth says, wow, MG can't even finish speaking and Porky's already trying to gerrymander winners and losers by poo-pooing all of MG's choices.
I don't think so.
Steve says, voting Porky this week, MG mentioning how he thought Ranieri would do well at the start of the season for the 1000th time. Well, I'm sorry, Steve. Occasionally, you have to point these things out. He says, and also his constant interruptions of Porky have counted against him. Well, no, because I'm fed up listening to all of these so-called experts who keep telling me that, Leicester, of course, they're not going to make the distance. They're still saying it. All these guys that come on Talk Sport, all these Fleet Street, aficionados of football, all year they've said this wouldn't happen. None of them expected Leicester to be top of the league at this time. Anyway, here's this from Paul. He says, where's the abstain option? Terrible choices this week.
Oh, no. Listen again, my boy.
Woodenhead says, we aren't gullible, Parry. The Talk Sport listeners won't be manipulated by your rat-like cunning sob story. Disgraceful.
No, it wasn't a sob story at all. I was merely pointing out the facts to everybody, all and sundry.
Derek says, vote OMG and vote often. Show Parry out for the fool that he is.
Oh, it's not very nice comment.
Elise says, I'm still not sure how this voting malarkey works.
Yeah, well,
you basically go to Twitter, you vote for either me or Porky.
No, but hang on, you don't just go to Twitter, don't you go to @the2mics?
Well, of course.
Yeah, so you go to Twitter, you go to @the2mics.
I don't have to talk her through it, do I?
Well, yes, you do, because the poor lady was looking for advice.
Have you seen the NFL game tonight? It's not that close for a change. It's the Detroit Lions 28. The New Orleans Saints 10.
Oh, no.
Fourth quarter.
Another New Orleans.
Well,
what?
You've had your chance with the NFL. We had that NFL player
Detroit
on.
Lions.
Do you remember? What? After spending the entire year, basically rubbishing the NFL.
Yeah, because they're rubbish.
When we got that linebacker on, that rather large man, you were like, oh, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you completely changed your tune.
Yeah, well,
turncoat.
No, that's only because he said he might be coming to London.
Maffey says, because you were worried. Maffey says, weak of you, Parry, to pick a dead man and last week flood victims. Shame on you.
No. I was merely reflecting the emotion the nation has shown over the loss of one of the great sporting personalities of our time.
Liam says, isn't winners and losers based on weekend events? If so, Porky is congratulating Jimmy Hill for dying, surely.
No, I'm saying...
Plank.
No, he's a winner because he did so much in life. We're celebrating a great life. Celebrating a great life.
No,
that's the way to put it.
See, the thing about you is that you're always, you sit around kind of, constantly thinking of the best way to try and hook in some kind of, emotional
no, I don't.
touch point. Yes,
no,
you do.
No, I don't.
You did it with the Carlisle flood victims.
Well,
now you've done
only
it.
Being honest.
And what I do, right, instead is I put myself out there genuinely, knowing that, for example, if I put anything down about Man United, every Man United fan votes against me. Yeah. Now Robbie says this, I was with you, MG, until you said Harry Kane.
Well, exactly.
#Arsenal for life.
Excellent.
Because he's an Arsenal fan.
Exactly.
But you shouldn't allow that to interfere with the democratic process.
Well, I'm afraid it does. I think you have to weigh up how you can have a balanced assortment of winners and losers.
Dave
but
the
you're
Milk
not really
says,
capable of doing that.
My vote goes to Porky, as old MG wouldn't shut up whilst he was giving his winners and losers.
Thank you.
Here's one from Steve who says Team MG. Sean says Jimmy Hill a winner. What has he achieved this week, Porky? It's supposed to be winners and losers over the previous week.
It's to mark a great life and a man who must not be forgotten by us all.
Brian has seen through it. He says, I see Mike Parry's using Jimmy Hill's name for the sympathy vote. That is so low, I'm voting for MG.
No, you've got it all wrong. You know, it's paying tribute, nothing to do with the sympathy vote. Honestly, it's not.
How about this from Rob, who says, why isn't he making Jesus a winner? He's dead too.
You
see, this is people are seeing through it.
No. That's. I mean, that is a bit blasphemous. I can't really comment on that.
It's not blasphemous at all. Now, 152 votes cast, 59% to me, 41% to you.
Oh, that'll soon change.
So I think
once people get the idea,
your so-called winning streak, I think is over.
Oh, come off it, man! You're talking about
for the English Tommy. The war is over.
You know, the early few minutes of.
How can a corpse ever be the winner? Says Jason.
Listen, just before we go,
go on.
I want to get serious for a minute.
Yeah.
A colleague of ours passed away over the weekend.
Oh, yeah?
A chap called Alan Lee.
Oh, yeah.
Who was the racing correspondent of the Times. And a lovely guy, believe me. I met him a few times.
I don't know if I'd ever met him. I think I know his name for sure.
Yeah, we met him, well, I'm sure you were in my company on one occasion or another when we met him at a racing
down
meeting.
Cheltenham or something.
Cheltenham or something like that, or Sandown or somewhere. And honestly, he was known as a genuinely, humble but incredibly well-read guy. The great thing about him is, I think he was the racing correspondent for about 12 years.
Oh, yeah.
But for 18 years before that, he was the cricket correspondent of the Times.
Oh, was he?
And he was appointed by a man you and I know very well, Charlie Wilson. Charlie Wilson, when he was the manager of the Times, was at a cricket ground when he heard that their incumbent cricket writer was retiring, and they had the option of taking on Christopher Martin Jenkins, who was, of course, a fantastic establishment figure.
He was,
Test match special and all that
also,
kind of stuff.
At that time, Charlie Wilson was kind of shaking the Times up a bit, wasn't he?
Funny you should say that, because Charlie Wilson, some would say, was a rough, gruff Glaswegian who came down to Fleet Street and had some great senior positions in journalism,
and he was more of a tabloid guy, really, wasn't he?
It pinnacled with Rupert Murdoch appointing him editor of the Times, which was completely anti-establishment, which is what Murdoch wanted. Smash up the old, the old schoolboy network on the Times.
But not only the schoolboy network on the Times, and outside of it,
and outside of the Times, absolutely right. Yeah, like the English public school system or whatever, And Charlie Wilson got there and was talking to other members of the the cricket writing press. And they said, it's Christopher Martin Jenkins, or the other great guy who you might want to have a look, Alan Lee. And he said, what's he? He said, he's a working class boy from wherever,
Right.
I think he came from Hertfordshire or somewhere. He said, no choice, we'll have an Alan Lee. And that was it. And he as the new racing editor. Sorry, as the new cricket correspondent in those days.
Right.
And he was a young lad working on a local paper and he got the job. So it was a great story. And what happened was...
And was he still working at the Times, or had he retired?
He was still working at the Times, and for a few months, Alan had time off with heart problems.
Okay.
So I have an empathy with him there.
Sure.
He was able to have a quadruple heart bypass, and they're usually very successful because it's not a complicated... These days, it's not a complicated operation. You take veins from other parts of the body, around the thigh and all that kind of stuff, and you transplant them into the heart, and all of a sudden... And it's usually highly successful. For some sad reason, he was preparing to go to work on, I think it was Friday of last week, and he collapsed and died of heart complications.
Oh, shame.
It's very, very sad.
Yeah.
But there we are.
Well, our thoughts with his family.
Oh, indeed.
Now, a few more tweets to end the show with. Tomorrow night, of course, is Ask Porky. So we'll get some questions in. Maybe some Christmas sort of type speciality questions, because we are obviously in Christmas week.
Indeed.
Here's one from someone who doesn't give a name, unfortunately. LVG, Man United isn't your destiny.
Oh, I like that.
So leave this great club with pride and dignity.
Oh, I like that
There's
as
a
well.
double one.
Yeah,
a couple of people pointing out that I made a bit of a blunder earlier on Doctor Who. The Master was another Time Lord. Davros was the man, of course, who created the Daleks.
Oh, Davros. Was it?
He was the man who was half man, half Dalek.
Okay.
I forgot about that. Big Al points that out as well.
Okay,
now, how about this? From Darren, who says, not the first time Mike Parry's used a dead person as a winner. Vote for IROMG. Hashtag Cilla Black. Apparently used her.
Well, you've got to pay tribute to these people who've made such a huge contribution to life in this country. That is what I say.
Yeah.
And that is what
How about
I
this
stick
from
by.
Paul, who says, I've just found a Two Mikes league.
Yes.
Do you know where you sit in that?
Where?
Do you know where you sit in the Two Mikes league?
What do you mean?
Well, we've got our own mini-league for the Selco Predictor. It's not difficult to follow this, is it?
There's only 1-2 mics. There's only 1-2 mics.
What?
There's only one.
There's two of us, actually.
Yeah, all right.
I know you think there's only one of us.
No, there's only one group of two people called the Two Mikes.
Yeah,
That's
but
you
we
and me.
have a Two Mikes Predictor League.
Oh, do we?
Inside the TalkSport organisation.
Oh,
right?
I see, right, I'm
There's
sorry.
the TalkSport
Yeah.
Presenters
Okay,
League.
okay, I've got you.
There's the TalkSport League. There's each show has its own league.
I've got you.
And we have 566 people in our league.
Right.
Do you know where you are? Why look at me like that?
A time's over for the show.
No. Have a guess.
I don't want
Out
to.
of 566, where do you think you are? His face
Are
is a picture.
you trying to suggest that I'm at the lower end of this scale?
Very much so.
Like bottom?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
not bottom.
Okay,
So he's
that's all
happy
right.
now.
That's all right, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Would you have a guess? Out of 566.
Yeah.
Go on.
38th.
559th. You're only.
Why do you think that's so amusing?
You're only 7 off the bottom.
Okay.
Out of more than 500 people.
Yeah, really?
That's
Yeah.
appalling.
Yeah. Well, it's only halfway through the season.
Yeah, that's true. Hang on, let's see. Would you have a final vote on the old scenario here? Oh, 59% to 41%, 196 votes cast.
Yes.
The voting will continue to remain open until midnight.
Yes,
Unless
it will.
it's very close, of course.
will.
Why have you put your glasses on?
I don't know, because I found them on the desk. I don't know what they're doing in here. But I usually leave them outside.
How
I thought
bizarre.
I didn't want to forget them.
Oh, okay. I don't want to forget you either, but I keep trying.
No, forget them, I said. Right, well, that'll all change overnight. Now, one last thing I want to remind our listeners,
we haven't
please.
got any time. Look, we're out of time.
Very, very quickly.
Go on.
This week we're working our usual
we haven't got
night
time.
shifts. Next week we are
that's
working
next
days.
week.
Next week we're working
Yeah,
days.
well, we've got plenty of time to explain
10,
all that.
10 till 1 on Monday.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's not until next Monday.
Yeah, next Monday.
Yeah, all right.
If you love the Two Mikes podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.
And what I did was I hid behind my door.
Right.
When the cat came close enough, I went, "Ah!"
Look at the light!